It's not Brett Kane, but it's Raj filling in for Kaner. He will return tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. Vic Moj, welcome in. How you guys doing? How's your weekend?
Good morning, Raj.
Not doing bad. I'm enjoying myself right now. I've had a great morning. We've been talking about the NFL and the weekend that we got to see, the fun, exciting football that I got to watch on Sunday morning between the Browns and the Cowboys, and I'm just waiting and hoping and wishing that we're going to get exciting football like that sometime soon here in Denver.
Where's Powder anyway? Is he on some sort of binge because his Lions blew a double-digit lead for an NFL record sixth consecutive time?
0-6 when leading by 10 or more. Yeah, he might be hurting this morning. Maybe that's the reason.
I just, I think he's so conditioned now, honestly, that I just don't think it affects him anymore. I mean, I think he's become numb to the whole Yeah, he's a beaten soul, which is
beaten man.
It's a sad place to be. But Raj, you're right. I mean, when you watch that Cowboys-Browns game yesterday, again, I thought before Week 4. This is when you start to realize who teams are. The Buffalo Bills look for real, right?
Josh Allen is the truth.
Yeah, no doubt about it. He's just a terrific player. The Dallas Cowboys are not for real. They are terrible. They should be an 0-4 team. If not for
the Cowboys are?
The crazy onside kick, Vic.
Yes, the Cowboys, Marcus, are every reason why. And again, I don't want to come across is get off my line. But every reason why I cannot stand fantasy football. Because everybody looks at the Cowboys in a fantasy football league and says, oh, what a gift that keeps on giving. That offense, that quarterback.
500 yards, 4 touchdowns, and a pick.
Oh, you know what they are? Losers. That's what they are.
The defense can't stop anything. Not a damn thing. When you have an opportunity to not only win a game, but win at home, get yourselves to 2-2, be number 1 in the division. The first play that happens in that fourth quarter when the Browns take over after essentially a botched onside kick, OBJ goes end around for 50 yards.
I know.
And you can't make a tackle. Six guys
they almost had
pursue.
him. I mean, they sort of had him in the backfield, sort of cornered. They forced him to go towards his own goal line. And then he turned the corner, and then he was gone. It's interesting too because now we're into a week where the Patriots will play tonight, and Cam Newton will not play tonight. So that's going to be interesting. And then, of course, the Broncos will have to go back east and get them next weekend. But so their week got shortened by a day. Will it make it right? Will it make a difference? Will it help? I don't know what Cam's story is going to be going forward. When is he allowed to get back and practice or even play? I have no idea. So there's a very good chance they will not see Cam Newton next weekend. So I was thinking about that, Raj, during the course of this weekend. But it was an interesting weekend of football so far, and certainly we've got 2 more games coming up tonight.
I don't want to let you get off of that. Let's open that question about how Cam possibly not playing affects the Broncos' chances to improving to 2-3.
Yeah, well, how many days does he have to go with negative tests before he can suit up and return to the facility?
See, I don't know how that works. I don't know. Yeah,
I'm so lost in policies, right? Because every league, every organization, every office, every workspace, every single non-individual in this world has a policy of its own. I have no idea what the hell the policy is anymore.
I couldn't tell you.
What, does he show up with a pulse? Does he show up with one of those hats? If he shows up dressed like Cam, is he ready to play? I have no idea. How many days is he sick right now? Is he asymptomatic? When can he play? When is he allowed to engage in football again?
I mean, the people that I know who have had it said it takes like 7 to 10, 7 to 12 days to kind of get over feeling like absolute crap. Feeling miserable.
Can you feel, and again, this is a dumb question from a dumb place because I'm a dumb man.
Says the doctor.
Can you feel like crap and still test negative and still play?
I don't know, but apparently he didn't even know. I mean, he just tested positive with 0 symptoms. He was like, what? It was one of those kind of things.
He's asymptomatic then.
Correct. That is correct. He was like, I feel great, and they said, no, you got it, and so you're out. And then they test everybody else, and And thank goodness for those teams. Everybody else came back negative, so they're going to travel today, I guess, and play tonight. But I don't know what the policy is, Vic. I mean, how long have you had it? I mean, clearly he I'm sure they test every single day going into the facility like the Broncos do. So, he just got tested that day and then got it. And then how long does it take to shed? I don't think anybody knows anything, to be honest with you. I really don't, Raj. I don't think anybody knows, exactly what this thing does. They probably have a pretty good idea, but I can't imagine him playing this next weekend. I mean, I can't imagine them letting him go out onto the field.
Is the only chance the Broncos have at winning that game if Cam Newton doesn't play? Is that the only chance?
It's going to be tough even if Cam Newton doesn't play. It's not like Brian Hoyer's never played before. And it's still a game in Foxborough.
He's certainly not. Well, in Foxborough, but you're not playing. You're not really playing in Foxborough. There's not fans. The weather's not going to be horrible. It's not your typical Foxborough game. And Brian Hoyer certainly has played NFL games, but he's not a former MVP.
My question about Cam Newton is, how does he get that weird type on his Instagram posts that I'm reading right now?
How long do you think that took to type?
How do you do that, though? What do you do to do that?
You press and hold on your phone, and it brings up like extra characters per. So if you're texting me right now and you press and hold on the A with a little bit of pressure, it's going to bring up an A with accents and ooblongs.
But why? Why?
Well, because it shows how you pronounce the letter.
No, but why would you do that, though? What's the point of him doing that?
Because Cam's a weirdo. He's just needs to be different.
Yeah, he's an interesting cat. Why is he using like dollar signs and number signs and whatnot for letters and all? I don't know, dude. I don't know why he's doing it, but that's his thing, man. I think, Raj, I think if he plays, it's going to be very difficult for the Broncos to win. I think if he doesn't play, it'll be difficult.
I think we're not at a point where we can assess the Broncos based on what the other team feels. I think the Broncos need to take care of the Broncos. All right, they needed everything in the tank to beat a very, 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 very bad Jets team.
How does Adam Gase still have a job?
All right. Well, because of this season. I think if this were a normal season, he'd probably be out of a job right now. I think because of all the change it requires and all the I think this is one of those pass seasons.
It's just logistics.
Yeah, exactly. But don't think that the Broncos suddenly, because Cam Newton can't play, I mean, do you think it's going to change the line on the game?
Maybe by 1.5 points.
Okay. It's still the Patriots. It's still Belichick. It's still his defense. I mean, you give Belichick a week to prepare for Brett Rippon. You like his chances?
I mean, there's not much video on Brett Rippon.
Okay, there's enough. I just think if the Broncos could win in New England next week, and here we are a week before the damn game, man, that would be a watershed game for the season. I'll say it right now, if the Broncos can win at New England, that changes everything.
You have a shot at the playoffs if you can win.
It changes everything.
Because then what? Drew Lock's may be healthy the following week. Maybe it's 2 weeks until he comes back from that, was it AC joint on his throwing shoulder?
That is correct.
Yes.
So when he comes back from that, maybe he's ready. And if he happens to be the franchise quarterback you want him to be, you can sneak in with the extra slot.
We're getting a lot of texts, and when we ask the question, how long does Cam Newton have to sit out? And people keep saying, yes, 2 negative tests in a row. Okay, that's fine. But how long does it stay in his system, even if he's asymptomatic? I mean, he could feel fine today. He could feel fine a week from now, and it could still be in his system. And I think that's different person to person is all I'm asking.
Yeah, so you can't go breathing on dudes.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Breathing around on people. Hey, it's Cam. I mean, what? Come on, man. Mask it up, dude. No,
see, I knew we'd get to this. I knew we'd get to this once the season started. We would get to the point where we were secretly hoping that members of the opposing teams would linger with positive tests.
Yeah.
You know that's happening.
Totally.
It's happening in my brain right now.
Yeah.
I hope the guy's fine. Like, I hope he lives, and I hope it doesn't affect him at all, but I hope he can't play next week. Of course. I thought that about the Avs. I wanted Anton Khudobin to make sure that he got sick and was asymptomatic for a week so he couldn't play.
But the fact of the matter is, though, is that I mean, even at 1-3, you've got a pretty big uphill climb to make in the AFC. You got a lot of tough opponents coming up. I mean, I look at the Broncos in the AFC West, and I see the Chargers sitting there at 1-3.
Justin Herbert.
I know the Chargers seem like a way better club at this point than the Broncos do.
Well,
at 1-3. I know that sounds silly because you are what you are.
They got their own injury issues, though. Austin Eckler went down, and he's out for a few weeks, and that was bad. He left the game on crutches, and they're not the same team without him. They're just not.
No. And again, I thought that yesterday they had a real shot at that one, but they feel like they blew the lead in the 24-14 halftime lead. They feel like a better 1-3 club than the Broncos do. So
yeah, but just think about it though, Mose. You just said
you got some hill to climb there, Raj. You got some ways to go.
After it's all said and done, Mose, you just said it. Here are the Broncos and the Chargers. It doesn't matter how they got there or how they looked getting there. The Broncos and the Chargers are both 1-3.
Boom. You're right. Yeah. And they're both sitting at the bottom of the AFC.
We'll continue to bounce around the NFL. Mosier, Lombardi, and Kane. Raj filling in for Brett. Altitude Sports Radio 92.5.
Gosh in the shotgun. There's the snap. Looks to his right. Fires that way. Got a man there. Cole Beasley makes a catch, and he is into the end zone. Touchdown, Buffalo. Cole Beasley. What a great grab. He went up high and brought it down.
That guy hit puberty or something on that
I
call?
don't know, he might have. Yeah, he might have. Little Peter Brady there screaming in the back of the something
Touchdown,
like that.
Buffalo.
Yeah,
hell of a
touchdown
catch, though.
Buffalo. Looks like Raj is dead to us right now. Raj, you go do your thing and chill out. Moshe Lombardi and Kane on
Figure
this
yourself out.
Monday morning.
Fix yourself, dude. It's embarrassing.
Yeah, dude, you got. He's got to fix his own life.
You're
right
embarrassing. He's waving an alley. You can't figure things out. It's embarrassing.
Hey, listen, you heard over the weekend, man. Again, this is where I think teams start to separate themselves a little bit, Vic.
Mm-hmm.
You tell me, man. Is it possible that the Buffalo Bills are for real? Is it possible? Is it possible that team is one that you got to take seriously now in the AFC?
I am still, and consider me a cynic, I am still not 100% sold. Now, do I think they'll make the playoffs? Yes. Do I think they're a Super Bowl contender? They would lose to the Kansas City Chiefs 9 out of 10 times.
Okay, yeah, I don't doubt that. But, I mean, everybody else in the dang league will lose to the Kansas City Chiefs.
I know,
9 out of 10
but there's
times, man.
there's still something rickety about them that I can't I can't figure it out. I don't know what that is.
Rickety about the Bills?
Yes,
They put a fourth quarter on the road at Vegas that got them the dub. I mean, and you talk about Josh Allen. He was very efficient yesterday. No turnovers. I don't know. Maybe we're watching this guy develop, Raj, into a quarterback that we all thought he could be coming out of Wyoming.
Speaking of development, I'm glad you said that. His first 4 games this year versus his first 4 games last year. These are the improvements that he's made statistics-wise. Not only record-wise, right? They're 4-0 now. So that's your big, your number one indicator of a quarterback actually learning how to play is winning football games. They're 4-0. They're undefeated. They're the best team in the AFC East. Team scoring has jumped up 50 points from 76 to 123. His interceptions have gone from 6 to 1. He's thrown 9 more touchdown passes. He's thrown for 400 more yards, and his completion percentage has climbed 10% from 2019 to 2020.
Well, if there's a guy that you want to model Drew Lock after, I think it's the progression of Josh Allen. If you're the Broncos, you say, okay, this kid's got, a couple 7 starts under his belt in the NFL, and we want to watch him grow and watch him develop and become a better player and get more efficient. I don't know that you don't look to the Buffalo kid and say, all right, this is what we want you to do, dude. This is how we want you to go. Let's try to bring him along just like this. You don't need spectacular Mahomes stuff out of the gate. You don't need him to light it up when he comes back from injury this year and all that kind of thing. You just need to see the progress. And now it looks like the Bills, again, you're being patient. You're dealing with some of the growing pains, and then now you're starting to get the payoff out of this guy because he's a really good quarterback. And, if Kaner was here, he'd say, well, I'm coming around on Josh Allen. Well, you need to because he accounted for 3 touchdowns. He had 2 through the air, and he ran 1 in himself. He right now is the guy that I think if you're the Broncos and you're the Bronco fans, say, we want our guy to be that guy.
But you had a chance for him to be your guy. You had a chance.
But you did. But again, hindsight 2020 now, man. You got a chub.
You got to take yourself back.
You got a chub. You got
take yourself back to that draft. Just take yourself back and listen. As bad as it looks now, hindsight is great. And yeah, he would look good in the Broncos uniform.
So would Quentin Nelson.
Played up the road in Wyoming. A lot of people were calling for his name. Hell, the Broncos went up and scouted him. I remember when John Elway and Matt Russell made that trip up to Laramie to scout him, and people thought they had their eyes on him. But I think, what do you think about this, guys? I believe the reason Josh Allen was not taken by the Broncos or even considered was everything to do with Paxton Lynch and how that ended here. And they didn't want the same thing to happen again, back-to-back quarterbacks.
I completely agree. Just because you swing and a miss, though, doesn't mean you can't get up to the plate and try again.
Okay, but if Paxton Lynch, if he doesn't exist, though, Moshe, if that whole thing, if that first-round quarterback...
Lynch, if he doesn't exist, do you take Allen and
Are they
give
more
him a shot.
inclined?
Let's
Are
be
they
honest.
more inclined?
Let's be honest. If Paxton Lynch doesn't exist there, they probably trade up to take Sam Darnold because that's the quarterback that they were in love with.
You know the other advantage, though, that Josh Allen has that maybe if he came to Denver, he would not have the benefit of a stable coaching staff, an offensive mind running his team.
Was it McDermott up there?
They've got a stable coaching staff, and they've had one for quite some time. And it makes all the difference in the world for a young quarterback. All of it. I mean, you're a young quarterback new to the league, and you're going through OC after OC after OC. I mean, that's torture.
Does it help rather, as I stumble over my words, does it help that you didn't have the need or the expectation from a fan base to immediately return to the playoffs and immediately get back to the Super Bowl? Because obviously the Bills haven't been there since the early 90s, the historic run of 4 straight and losing all 4, but the Broncos, after coming off a Super Bowl in 2015, the year was, right, wasn't it? It was retooling, not rebuilding, reloading, not rebuilding.
Right. And it was a bit delusional. Raj, what they did is they just tried to squeeze out the very last part of that defense. Yeah, I mean, you had a great D. He said, let's just ride this pony until the pony collapses, and then you ain't got no pony, right? You didn't have a rider, to be honest with you. You may have had the pony still on the defensive side, but you didn't have a guy riding that pony. And so the whole thing collapsed. And so they should have made the move and found their guy earlier. But, I mean, you are where you are right now. And, by the way, Buffalo Bills fans didn't have any expectations of anything. I mean,
what are you talking about? They had major expectations this year.
No, this year. I'm talking about when they
Like
drafted
going
Allen.
back to Allen that first year.
They'd been toiling, and they're like, hey, man, just when it turns around, wake me up and let me know. That's kind of it. I mean, although the Bills fans, they didn't have any. I mean, put it this way: they're passionate, but they didn't have any expectation.
Will Broncos fans ever get there?
Well, let's see how many more years they can tolerate. I was more impressed with the comments of one Derek Carr after that Buffalo-Oakland game. Quote, Derek Carr, I'm sick of losing. I'm sick of working as hard as I do and as we do, going out there and losing. I mean, it sucks. Enough is enough. The things that are hurting us in these close games, it's not them, it's us. That's a hard part to swallow. Then he goes on and says, me being here my 7th year, I've seen too much crap. I've seen a whole bunch of crap. And I'm just being honest with you. That dude sounds like he's at the end of the rope here.
He is a little bit at the end. And what I'd like to know what that crap entails. It can't be. Is it Gruden crap? It might be Gruden crap. I don't know.
That's got to wear the change, yes, but that's got to wear on players too. That type of coaching and that intensity every single minute of every single day under Gruden has to be. It's got to be crippling to play under.
Well, maybe, but I think it can also be very rewarding. I mean, if you do things correctly, and you have your head in the game, like you said, they're doing it to themselves. Probably talking about himself and his teammates as well. Although Carr did not have a bad day yesterday.
I mean, he doesn't really turn the ball over.
No,
he had a great day.
Does
32 of 44, 311, 2 TDs. I mean.
That's a
I'm sure his completions percentage was like, 73%? Because that's what it always is.
Do you know that Derek
So who's
Carr,
he talking about? What's he talking about, Vic?
He has yet to throw an interception this year. 144 pass attempts, no picks.
He's got to be talking about the personal penalties that always, or the personal fouls that happen on the defensive side of the ball, giving the Bills first downs when they don't need them, and you having Josh Allen wrapped up on the left-hand side and him throwing a left-handed shovel pass 10 yards for putting the Bills into position to get another first down. Like, that's what they're looking at right now. You're looking at soft defense, and he's just looking at the other side saying, I can't do much more. I don't turn the ball over. I make 3/4 of my passes. Welcome to being a Raider, dude.
I change location, but the franchise stays the same. Yeah, either way, man, we're back in. It felt kind of funky. I mean, it was fun to see the Broncos play on Thursday, but in all honesty, it felt kind of funky yesterday.
What, not
how you guys felt
play
about
on
it.
Sunday?
Yeah, it felt to
the
me,
NFL plays on Thursdays and Mondays. You got to get used to that.
For me personally, it felt a little funky. I wanted me some Broncos football yesterday. Thank God we're back into game week. Thank God.
Yeah. Why couldn't they have just played again? Thursday, Sunday. Let's go.
Why can't we just play like Thursday, Sunday, Wednesday, Sunday?
Recovery
that kind of thing?
doesn't matter.
Can I ask you
Bumps
guys
and bruises don't
What do I care?
matter.
No.
Can
We already
I
broke
ask you
down
guys
anyway.
a serious question that perhaps goes outside the boundaries of sports talk radio, but it is sports talk radio. The Broncos didn't play yesterday. Why did my Siri just go off? The Broncos didn't play yesterday. Okay, so I found myself sort of scanning the dial, looking at different games. And I found myself at one point going, you know what? I'm just not that interested in this stuff like I would if the Broncos. I mean, are you as vested and interested?
Nope. Not a chance. I had to force myself to watch, what was it? It was the Chargers game I was forcing myself to watch.
I had a good conversation with a longtime Cowboys fan, a good friend of mine. And then why he's a Cowboys fan is beyond me. I think he's been to Texas once in his life. Had a conversation with him last night. He's probably listening to the show.
Yeah, I had an
said,
aunt who lived in Abilene, so it's like Kreckman, right? Yeah, my aunt lived in Joliet. I'm a big Cubs fan.
For some reason, he's a Cowboys fan. I said, man, the Cowboys can't stop anybody. He goes, you know what? I haven't watched a single play of the team this year. I go, what? What? You are the most passionate Cowboys fan I know. You live and die Cowboys. What do you mean? He goes, nope, no interest. That's just weird to me, but I think more people are thinking that way. And it's not just the NFL. I think sports right now is hard to digest.
I want to get into that. We'll take a break, reopen it up on the other side. It's Altitude Sports Radio 92.5. I can get on board with that. I can get on board with it, Moj, for sure. A 70% decline year over year in Game 2 of the NBA Finals in terms of viewership. Last year, 13.9 million people tuned in to watch Game 2 between the banged-up Golden State Warriors and the Toronto Raptors. This past Friday, and we don't have the Nielsen ratings for Game 3 last night just yet, 4.5 million, a 70% decline.
I got so many layers upon layers to talk about ratings.
Peel open the onion.
Let's talk about your Cowboy fan buddy again. That sounds fascinating.
No. Ratings.
My buddy likes the Cowboys.
Mosier, do you think ratings are accurate? Television ratings?
I don't think they're accurate at all. No, I don't.
Why are they not accurate? Hey, let me just. I'll ask the questions. I'll be the counsel here. Why are they not accurate, sir?
Because number one, because people pop in and out. Number two, because you don't know how many people are gathered around. Number three, there's so many other outlets now to get the game as opposed to just your television screen. I think you have to combine everything. There's no doubt that viewership is down and the lack of interest is there. I'll be honest with you, Vic. I didn't watch one pitch of baseball all weekend long.
Not because there wasn't a pitch of baseball all weekend.
There
long.
wasn't.
They didn't play on Saturday.
Yeah, you're right.
Or Sunday.
You're right.
Mosier's looking for baseball. It's not existent on
I guess what was the last game? The Padres knocked off
Friday.
the Cards?
Friday was the last game.
Yeah, I guess that was the last game. Well, that's the last time I paid
They play
attention.
again today,
Yeah.
2 o'clock.
Yeah. Good point.
Yeah.
So the deal is that there's a number of reasons for it, but also maybe overall interest has just sort of dissipated a little bit. The baseball ratings have been crap too.
The number one reason NBA ratings have taken the dive they've taken is because these television ratings do not take into account the digital dial. They don't. And the NBA has the number one footprint in the world on digital service.
Yeah, the 18 to
Cell
49
phone,
group,
the laptop.
The kids who know how to work all that stuff is a huge demographic for them. That's for sure.
And
They're a big
a lot of them
demographic
ain't
for us
watching
here at the station.
They ain't watching television. They ain't watching television, bro. So every time I hear these ratings, I feel like a young person laughing at an old person. I roll my eyes until the rating system fixes itself and it's not accurate. I'm not going to believe all ratings. However, I will say interest in these games have waned, especially the Lakers. I think this is Lakers fatigue more than anything.
Is it LeBron fatigue?
Let me tell you something. No doubt. No, LeBron and Laker fatigue. You know how much of that game I watched last night? The Lakers and the Miami Heat were playing Game 3 of an NBA Finals. My team just got done playing, so you'd think I'd follow up, right? You know how much of that game I watched? Maybe 2 minutes. I watched Jimmy Butler at the end yell, "You're in trouble," to LeBron James, which was awesome. I love Jimmy Butler. Might be my favorite player in the bubble left. When he yelled that to LeBron James, I was like, yes. That is the only part of the game I watched. Because let's be honest, we all thought the Lakers were going to rout. We thought the Lakers were going to sweep. We thought they were just going to gift the Lakers their trophy. Lakers fatigue. That's why.
Yeah, that's part of it too. When the Avs got eliminated, I didn't watch the first 3 games of the Stars and the Golden Knights.
Moj, I watched a total of maybe a minute of hockey after that.
Yeah. Well, I watched virtually all the final. I mean, but it took me a while. It stung a little bit. I don't want to watch the Lakers win a title, man.
Zero interest in watching after my team left.
I don't want to see them kick the snot out of the Heat.
Me neither.
All right,
get another ring.
The last thing I want to see. The last thing I want to see is LeBron and AD being interviewed by Rachel Nichols at center court talking about how inspired they were. Inspired. I don't want to watch that.
But it's different to have fatigue sitting here in Denver when both of your teams had a legitimate shot to be in a championship position, right? It's different talking about fatigue in Denver. What about the national landscape? And Nelly and I were opening this up in the 6 a.m. hour is I'm kind of begging for basketball to be over in general. By the time the NHL playoffs had figured out that they were getting to a Game 5 of Stanley Cup, or was Game 6 of the Stanley Cup final, I was ready for hockey to be over. My brain can only handle football during football season, and that's it. That's it.
Well, I think because the delay in those seasons and extended into September and October, right? The NBA is still playing in October. We are year-to-year NBA right now, after a 4-month pause. that also leads to the fatigue. That is also a fatigue factor. You're right. I am. Yesterday was a weird day. The Broncos weren't playing. You had all these NFL games.
And you had good NFL games.
You had a golf tournament. You had an NBA final.
There was a golf tournament?
And
Sergio won.
Yeah, Sergio won the tournament.
News
and
to
I
me.
am not afraid to admit, I remember I had zero interest in sports yesterday. None. I wanted to be outside. We played some volleyball. I did not want to watch anything.
You almost stepped on a snake.
Is that smart of me to say? I mean, I said I had to go watch. I said I'm doing a radio show the next morning. I got to know something, right? So I forced myself to watch Red Zone. But I didn't want to watch it. I didn't want to. I wanted to be outside. I wanted to get the hell out of here.
It was a beautiful day yesterday, too.
I mean,
didn't
did
even
you
get
want
play
to?
golf this weekend.
Did you want to?
No,
if you had
no,
options,
I told
did
you.
you want to watch it?
No, I told you. I had to force myself to watch it. Like, I got on, I did a little Peloton spin in the morning, and I had to force myself to get off the Peloton and actually watch football.
Dude.
And I wanted to stay on the bike.
Wait, hold on a second. Hold it.
What?
You were on the Peloton?
Yeah.
Did, like, your girl get you a Peloton like the TV commercial?
She did.
I mean,
She did,
Wait,
and I love it.
I knew it.
It's
Wait a minute.
awesome.
I knew it.
Your girl bought you a Peloton?
Well, I mean, we share
These
the
things
Peloton.
cost like $5,000.
We share the Peloton.
That's like sharing
I
a
help.
dog.
I help pay for the Peloton.
I mean, I would have been impressed if my girl had got me a burrito supreme. You got a Peloton.
Terry, the meatloaf.
I mean, seriously, if you're out there listening. My girlfriend bought me, I don't know, a pair of pants. My girlfriend bought me a set of Pro V1s. My girlfriend bought me a $5,000 Peloton.
But listen to Rush. I had to get off my Peloton in order to.
I'm getting a little tubby in the middle. Shoot me if I want to get rid of it.
Aren't we all? Yeah, aren't we all?
The entire country.
But there's another factor, though, to keep your interest, Vic. And it came down last week that Colorado is number 5 in the country in this regard. Nelly, I'll start with Nelly, the 12-year-old with a full beard. Do you have a betting account, Nelly?
I do not.
Okay.
I am
Raj,
terrible at sports predictions. I don't want to involve any
Raj,
money.
do you? I don't either. Raj, do you?
I do.
Okay. Vic, do you?
No. You know
Okay.
why I don't? You know why I don't?
squares.
No. I'll give you the humble reason why I don't. First of all, honest to God, I thought about this for a long time, and I thought about going into it and doing what you guys do. I don't want my opinions swayed on this show or any opinion show by my losses or gains in the betting world. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I had thrown a bunch of money on the Raiders yesterday, let's say, and the Raiders lose, what am I going to do? What am I going to do this morning?
Bash the Raiders.
For 3 hours, correct?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So
probably,
why
yeah.
would I'm not going to do that. And I guarantee you this, most hosts do exactly that bet. I guarantee it. When you hear a host go off on a team or a player, I mean, just irrationally off, I follow the money. 100. You guys agree with me?
Follow the fantasy. I don't do that.
Follow
I don't
follow
play
the
anymore
fantasy
either.
game or follow the money. I purposely do not bet for that reason.
Nelly, did you see how many fantasy points Dak Prescott had yesterday? 504
You know what I'm saying?
yards, 4
Monster
touchdowns,
day.
an
You know what I'm saying?
interception.
Monster day.
Devin
they lost
Singletary for the
Freaking
Bills.
lost to the Browns.
Just
Lost
Devin
to the
Singletary
freaking Browns at
for
home.
the Bills was
They're
just
1
going
and
on
3.
the outside.
Doesn't mean they're
freaking
1 and 3,
losers.
Vic. They
I had 3
stink.
touchdowns from Joe Mixon, and I left him on the bench. It was killer.
I'm out.
Raj filling in for Brett Kane this morning. He'll be back at 6 a.m. tomorrow. As always, you can join the show on the Shop Automotive text line at 30933 or on the Johnson Auto Plaza listener line at 303-504-0925. Vic, what you got?
Don't get me wrong on that last segment. I am so pro gambling. Who was the guy that was shaking that tree for the last year trying to get the state to get gambling going? You know, remember we had a couple legislators on the show trying to, let's get gambling going because it's a new source of revenue for our business, our industry. So I love it. I'm just not going to come on the radio and tell you I gamble on sports every day because I don't think it's fair. I don't think it's fair for what we do. This texter says, Vic, you're a radio personality. We want to hear about your gambling. It's relatable. Okay. You want to hear about my gambling? I lost $65 on the 10th hole yesterday. 65 when two guys birdied on top of me, one after another. I was down 175 about 2 holes to play, and I made half of it back. That's where I gamble.
Where'd you play?
I gamble on the golf course.
Where'd you play?
I'm not telling you where I played. I gambled on the golf course. I don't gamble on sports like you gamble on sports. Now, I pick winners and losers, but I'm not going to go there because you know why? I have the most addictive personality, and I'll probably be out of money or divorced in about a week.
Okay. Well, then that's a good reason. The fact of the matter is, though, people in Colorado are gambling. We were the number 5 state in the month of August in terms of gambling. That's total handle, right?
Well, do I have to now apologize that I don't gamble on sports? Is this what it's come to? I've got to apologize?
Get with the program.
$130 million, Raj. Jersey, by the way, led everybody.
I'm not shocked those New Jersey degenerates.
Yeah, Jersey's like it's $670 million. And Colorado comes in at number 5 at about $130. And like those people in Jersey, man, they're like, well, we're stuck inside. Might as well just throw some bucks around, right? Throw the old pension on the Giants to win. Jets to win. But I mean that can help. I think, Raj, if you're looking at people and the interest level, that can help. You throw a few bucks on a game.
See, but even
maybe you watch it a little bit more. You pay a little bit more attention. It's certainly going to help overall.
I've never bought into that. I watch it more. If I'm going to watch a game, I watch it for the competitiveness of the game. I don't watch it more because I got something riding on it. I've never believed in that. I've never, ever once believed in it.
People do.
I watch sports for sports. I don't watch for fantasy. I don't watch for any of that crap. I watch it because I like the sport, because I'm fond of the sport, fond of the game. I've never understood anything different.
Good for you. There's nothing wrong with that. And that's what people have done for years. But all of this side betting stuff, I mean, the fantasy thing kept a lot of people's interest. But all this side black market betting that's gone on forever, now it's coming into the open. You can see that it's there. I think for a lot of people, it helps keep interest when they've got a few. They got a few buckos on the old money line.
The other thing, Mose, you know me. I'm way too emotional and too passionate to be a good bettor. I would go with my home team and my heart all the time and get my ass kicked. I'm not a good wagerer. I can't do it. I can't differentiate between the mind and the heart when it comes to wagering. Can't do it.
The fantasy thing ruined NFL football for me for a few years, especially in college, because my buddies and I got like Red Zone and NFL Ticket and everything. We could watch whatever game we wanted to because we were in upstate New York, and the only games that we got were the Jets, and back then the Bills were terrible. But at one point, we'd be sitting on a couch and we'd finally get a good game. We'd get like Saints versus Packers, and it'd be a shootout. And I'd have 3 guys in my ear barking at me to change the channel to the Raiders versus the Titans because they had a guy in the red zone on their fantasy team. It ruined football for me for like 2-3 years. I couldn't do it. I couldn't watch football. I couldn't play fantasy.
This texter says, Vic, I got to parlay Chiefs and Packers tonight. Otherwise, I wouldn't care for either of these Monday night games. Okay, that means you don't. I mean, that's fine. You can do what you want. I'm going to watch the game for the game. All right. Yesterday, I had no interest. Tonight, I have interest. There's nothing else going on tonight. It's not beautiful outside. I'm going to watch the game for the game. Some of us, I'm not going to apologize. I'm not going to apologize to anybody for watching sports for the sport. Okay. And not for the damn bank account.
But let me say this. Don't make it sound like you're more virtuous than anybody else.
It's not about virtuosity.
Okay, I'm just saying
Is that a word?
Yeah, it is a word. That's what
It's
you're
not
making
about
it sound
that at
like,
all.
though.
But-
I watch
but-
it for the sport. I love it for the gladiatorial
The point is,
combat.
We're
there
not
are
kink
still
shaming here.
There are still plenty of people out there that watch sports for sports. Hell, you know what I'm going to do today? You know what I'm going to do today? It has nothing
What are
to
you
do with
gonna do
gambling.
today?
I'm going to go watch the 5A state golf championship at the golf course up the hill. I'm going to go watch it because it's a
Why
sport.
the hell would you want to do that?
Because it's sport. It's raw, competitive sport. You know what I did on Saturday?
Those kids are
Well, there was a
so
park-
good.
Yeah, you gonna go watch some sophomore bashing around the trees?
Rather do that than watch some of this other crap I see. You know what I'm
Then
going
do whatever you want to do.
You know what I
do
did on
you.
Saturday,
That's fine.
Moshe? You know what I did on Saturday? There's a park by my house. I sat my ass over there and I watched some middle school football. These kids like 6th, 7th grade hitting each other all. It was awesome. Parents
Yeah,
getting into it. was awesome.
You see
They
that
loved it.
video of that
Go out and watch
8th
some,
grader who's like 6'5", 275,
Yeah,
playing wide
that-
receiver, just trucking.
You know what I'm
kids?
not going
Yeah,
to do?
it's
I'm not going to
ridiculous.
sit there all day saying, I got a parlay here, blah, blah, blah. Okay, great. You enjoy it. You enjoy spending money on sports. I love you for it. Don't try to freaking guilt me
What
for
if we
not
start
doing it.
handicapping
Raj.
Pee Wee football?
Well, I think they probably do. Raj, my neighbor's kid got a new kite. Maybe I'll watch the kid fly the kite this afternoon. That'd
Over
be
under
great.
on 7.5 seconds of him
Listen,
having the kite up in the air.
Well,
Everything's got to be a bet now. There's room for both, man. There's room for both.
Dude, you got some freshman who's going to shoot like 92 today. He's going to freak out. You just want to go see the freshman break down in a bunker. That's what you want.
I would
That's why
love to
you're
see
going.
a 13-year-old snap a driver over his knee.
You want to just see a 13-year-old cry himself into a bunker?
Yes.
All right, man. Knock yourself out.
Schadenfreude, man. I'm all about it. I don't care how old you are.
That ain't going to be what I'm going to do.
Everyone sucks at golf at one point. I don't care if you're 13 or 35.
But nonetheless, overall ratings are just overall, it's down. And I don't know whether it's, again, I think part of it's body clock.
The rating
I know,
system is antiquated. The rating system is
know, but at the
old.
same time,
there's
I
never
think-
been more interest in sports than there is in the last 5 years, okay? Because of gambling, because sports as a whole, people have more interest in it now than they did 20 years ago. You cannot tell me otherwise. The
Well, the
rating system is
listen.
not accurate.
do the politics aspect have anything to do with
Yes.
it? I don't know. Okay, probably
Yes.
so. I mean, but you can't quantify that kind of thing. Yeah, I mean, you can't quantify it. It's evolving and getting different as each season starts to progress.
We've had.
And by the way, the body clock thing, we were at the golf tournament on Thursday, Vic and I and Brett. We're all out there. You know, that's normally, and I'm looking around,
Thanks
I'm
for the
talking to my
invite.
Avs people. Yeah, sorry about that. And that's normally the kickoff. That's the tournament they have, the big charity tournament between preseason and the start of the regular. Like right now, we should be this
Okay,
week.
nobody cares about all these details. Get on with the story.
This week should be opening night for the NHL. This should be it, and we just finished the season. Body clocks are off, Raj. People have got body clock issues.
The draft is tomorrow.
Yeah, draft is tomorrow.
We're doing
exactly
a show,
right.
6 p.m. to 8 p.m.
Boom.
Me, Spring,
There you
Nelly.
go.
I'll have you on for a little bit. We'll see what the Avs
Yep.
do. If they trade up, trade out, trade down.
Do you think they'll trade that pick to get
I think
better
they
now?
should trade the pick. There's one player that I want there is like a centerman from Russia that's a little bit lower ranked, but I'm not going to get into that.
I mean,
Well, let's put it this way.
what's a development player going to do for your team now?
Nothing
Guy that
right
you're
now.
not going to see for 2 to 3
But
years
let me,
anyway.
you're right. Let me explain, though. It's a very fine line when you start getting into trading. The thing about teams now is that you're built through the draft. You look at the number of Tampa Bay Lightning that they actually picked on their club. They've got some free agents on there and some trades, don't get me wrong. But you've got to draft and develop your own dudes. And when you start giving away first-round picks, that's when teams start to get in real big trouble, man. For a quick fix now and for a want-to right now, even though your window is open, Raj,
Moj.
you start
Moj.
trading away those
Moj.
first-round
You
picks, it's going to
gotta
hurt you.
Put it on the table.
Moj,
Jesus,
stop it.
Lord.
Moj, stop it.
Thank
Stop
God you're not a GM. Thank
No,
God.
Moj,
Thank
Moj,
God.
Moj,
Thank God.
Moj. Nobody in Denver wants to hear about the future when it comes to the Nuggets and the Avs. And I work Nuggets games. Nobody in Denver will be content with trying to the Denver Nuggets, I'm going to tell you right now, when the Nuggets hold their draft, I think they have the number 22 overall pick. Nobody cares about stocking another rookie on this roster. They're young enough as it is. It's time for now. And the same should apply to the Avs. Do not sell me on this, well, you never know. You got to build. Nobody cares about the future with these teams. These teams are ready to pounce now. You take the window now. And if Joe Sakic and Tim Conley are listening to this show or directly in front of me, I would tell them to their faces. Denver is tired of waiting. We're tired of being patient. We're tired about hearing about kids growing into their roles. We want to win now. Don't sell them on this BS to keep stocking talent, Moj. We're tired of it. Let's go.
Back in 3 minutes.
You're just a grabby grabberton, man.
Well, it's ridiculous. Enough's enough. We've gone battles, and look, you're going to get some of this at the time when you're playing a short season with so many games, but it's absolutely ridiculous. It was mishandled by the Yankees. Certainly the pitcher on the mound. It was mishandled by the umpires. They hit Joey Wendell intentionally in the first inning. It was clear as day. Chapman comes in. He throws 3 different balls up and in. I get it. They don't like being thrown up and in, but enough's enough. We're talking about a 100-mile-an-hour fastball over a young man's head. It makes no sense. It's poor judgment, poor coaching. It's just poor teaching what they're doing and what they're allowing to do. The chirping from the dugout. I mean, somebody would have to tell me, go pull the numbers, who's hit who more. But I can assure you, other than the 3 years ago, there hasn't been one pitch thrown with intent from any of our guys, period. Somebody's got to be accountable. And the last thing I'll say on it is I got a whole damn stable full of guys that throw 98 miles an hour, period.
Eight o'clock here in the morning, Monday morning. Mosier, Lombardi, and Kane. Alex Ryan, you guys know me better as Raj, filling in for Brett today. He'll return tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. Guys, before we hit break last time, we're getting into it a little bit about how the Avs are kind of in win now mode. Moj, I know our body clocks are off. it's not necessarily the end of hockey season, but the NHL Draft tomorrow night will have coverage 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. here on 92.5 with me and Mark Springer. Also, the big thing for the Avs, free agency opens up on Friday. Is there anything you're looking at, anything you're hearing, rumblings, what the Avs could do?
No, I heard you talk a little bit this morning. This is a topic that applies to the Avs, but it applies to the Nuggets. It applies to any professional sports team. And, Vic, we used this phrase last week, did we not? There's more than one way to skin a cat, right? It was one of those things that we were talking about. 23 Skidoo. What is the proper course of action to try and build a champion? I mean, you let me put it this way.
Get the best players.
Yeah, I understand that. Do you think the Avs could have won a Stanley Cup if it wasn't for all the injuries?
Yes.
No doubt about it.
Okay.
No doubt about it. You give me
okay.
a healthy Avalanche team, and I will take them against the Tampa Bay Lightning.
So they added a couple free agents, which was good. You look at the Donskoy and the Belmar, good. They made a deal. We got a Burakovsky in, that sort of thing. How do you do it? I mean, trading away first-round picks long-term for your franchise is going to get your butts in trouble. I know you want it now. Gimme.
It's the end of the first round, though.
I don't care.
I understand that. Okay.
But see, I don't care about 10 years from now.
I know you don't give a rat's rip. I know you don't care about this kid. I know.
10 years from now, it doesn't matter to me. I don't work for the team. I'm not a GM. My job isn't dependent on it. I know why it would matter for them, but for me as a fan, as anybody listening, I want to win now. I don't care about 10 years from now.
Okay.
Just like when the Broncos won Super Bowl 50. And I said then, would you take this Super Bowl championship for 5 years of misery? Everybody said yes, they would.
Of course.
Well, guess what? Guess what we have now? We got 5 years of misery.
I'm fine with it.
I'm not against trading that pick. I'm not against moving your pick assets. I'm just saying if you do that constantly to try to better your club, you're going to pay for it in the long run. That's all
Who
I'm
says they
saying.
do it constantly? They've never done it.
No, but if you get in, okay, let me rephrase that. If you get into the habit of moving your pick assets, your first rounders specifically, over the long term, you get into a serious
We are in
trouble as a
total
franchise.
agreement there. But this franchise doesn't do this. This franchise develops and drafts.
They used to
drafts
could,
and
it
develops.
worked. So, and to be honest with you, when you go back to Pierre Lacroix's days, and he's moving these picks in order to try to achieve a Stanley Cup championship. The two cups, are you saying that it's worth it? Yeah, it is.
Not only were the 2 cups. Hold on.
Okay.
Not only were the 2 cups worth it, they were a contender for a decade straight.
Okay, but I know, but you also had deals that didn't work, like Theo Fleury, right? That doesn't work out, and then you start to get into 2004, you start to get into the cap era, and then you don't have those assets developing, and your team is not what it once was because you tried to mortgage things to get it now. I'm not against it, man. I'm just saying there's more than one way to build a team, and Raj, as far as free agents go, you're not going to spend $9-10 million on Pietrangelo and Taylor Hall. Listen.
What's the point in having cap space then?
Well, you got to get your own dudes under. You got to think long term for McKinnon and Makar and Landeskog. You got to think about those dudes, and they're coming up here 1, 2, 3 in the next 3 years. I'm just saying, I mean, if Hall feels like a quick fix, man, but there's something about that dude. I don't know what it would take to get him in. Maybe he'd take a short-term deal, but the dude's never won anywhere.
So you're not going to upgrade.
So you would say
fell
no.
short of the Western Conference Final, and you're not going to upgrade anywhere.
It's preposterous, Mosier. That's preposterous. If somebody said to me,
okay,
go get a viable player in an NBA to help the Nuggets, I'd say, yeah.
Okay,
I would never say no.
Fine. But the Nuggets didn't have a roster that could win, that could beat the LA Lakers. You just said yourself the Avs had a roster that could have won the cup.
Okay, so let me get this straight. Hold on.
By the way, Nathan McKinnon asked about it after the Avs got eliminated. He said, "We don't need to change anything. We got the team
so let me
right
get this
here.
straight.
It just sucked with all the injuries."
You would be perfectly content and appeased if the Avs did absolutely nothing and drafted 22nd, drafted where they are, did nothing, re-signed who they had, and just run it back for another year with the goalies they have in place, all the guys, all the forwards, all the defense. Just run it back. You're fine with that.
No, what I'm saying to you is
what do you mean, no?
No, I'm not fine with that. I think you always need to try to make your club better. I think you always need to be banging the phones, trying to figure out if you can improve your team in whatever regard. I'm saying you don't need to do anything stupid, drastic, or reach with this hockey club right now. That's my opinion.
Is letting Z go and re-signing another defenseman drastic?
Well, no, because Bo Byram is going
trading
to emerge.
away. Is trading away one of your goalies and getting one that's a little more injury-free and durable drastic?
No.
Okay. Well, then we're talking the same thing. I mean, we're on the same page. That's called
Yeah.
improving your team to get to the next level. That's all I'm saying.
Petrangelo or Hall, to me, that's drastic.
Why?
Okay.
Petrangelo, he's been a top pairing defenseman. He's a top 5 pick in what I know was like the 2006 NHL
Because
Draft.
you
but he's
cannot
been a number.
commit. You cannot commit $9 million a year to that guy. You've got to think about your structure.
If you get rid of Graves and Zadorov, you can.
Oh Jesus!
There's your money right there.
Now you're starting to get crazy.
No, I'm not. Get rid of both of them because Graves has vastly outplayed his expectation. I don't think he'll. I think you saw the best of Ryan Graves. I don't think there's a spot for Nikita Zadorov on this team. I would say get rid of both of them. Sign Petrangelo for 7 years at 7 or 8 per, and bring Byram up. There you go.
I agree. Listen, I don't know a fourth of the hockey you guys know. All I know is that Zadorov, when he played, especially under this coaching staff, it was almost as if just waiting for him to make a mistake so they can blame him for something afterwards. Right? It's almost like he didn't fit. He just never fit here.
Well, if he's
that's the impression I got.
If he's going to get minutes, he's got to play a certain way. He's got to be a disruptor. He's got to be a blower-upper. He's got to be a physical force out there. And if he's not going to play that way, then who knows? I mean, again, he's an RFA, so you can let it go, trade his rights, whatever you want to do. Let me just say overall here as we get into some minutia of this dang hockey talk. Man, the window is open, and I've heard all this stuff about it with the Nuggets as well. Man, you got to make the moves now. You got to go be bold.
It's time.
I'm sick and tired. We
it's
haven't
time.
had a championship here outside the
Moj,
Bronx.
it's time.
It's been
Moj.
20 years.
There are 2 teams in this town that are championship ready. 2. The other 2 are not even close, okay? Rockies and Broncos are not even close. They're not even on the radar right now. There are 2 teams that are ready to have parades. No one, and I repeat, Moj, and I think I speak for everyone listening, no one wants to hear you say be patient. No one.
I'm not saying be patient. I'm saying you got a club that can do it right now, man. They believe they can do it. They believe they have the club in place. And not only that, because you were smart and you did it the right way, and you're drafting and developing. You've got a Bo Byram who's going to be coming in. You got the new hook kid.
Can I say something?
You got these guys who are going to be filling these slots in the coming years. You got a Count coming in who's going to be on this club. You're starting to draft and develop your own guys so you can put them in and improve your club that next year. But you just want to trade everything away.
No, I'm not saying
Taylor
that.
Hall.
You just said, and I want to speak to this because I think it's the biggest misconception, and I think it's the biggest farce in sports. When we as fans get involved in the money side of things, fans just want to win. Well, our franchise did it the right way versus buying a team. We push that all the time. We push that narrative with the Nuggets and Lakers. The Lakers were bought, the Nuggets were built. Yeah, it's great. It's great because that's the way you got to do it in this market. But do you think I care? Do you think if you came to me and said, we're going to buy the Nuggets a championship next year, do you think I would care? Do you think I'd be sitting here going, oh, it doesn't taste quite as good?
The answer is yes. Do it.
That I would
buy
care?
No, the answer is yes. Do it. Buy everyone. Buy me a championship.
Of course.
Buy me diamonds and pretty rings. I want them all.
Of course. At the core, we don't care how you win. Do you think the folks in L.A. right now, you think they're crying over, you think they're saying, oh, my God, this just doesn't mean as much? It just doesn't mean as much. They don't care.
Those people are shallow anyway, man.
No.
They don't
We're
have
all
any soul.
You
they don't have any heart, man.
You
they don't,
give
they don't
me
have
a championship.
They don't have any intestinal fortitude. All they want is gimme.
Oh, really? So when the Avs were buying everybody that was available, did you feel that way? When the Avs spent 10 years spending that checkbook like no other team in the league.
Paul Correa.
Were you shallow then?
No, it was awesome.
Okay, thank you. When the Broncos decided, well, we got Peyton, let's get every freaking other player we can to make a run. Were you shallow then?
No, I thought it was awesome.
Thank you. let's go win a damn chip. We can win 2 next year.
With the Lakers, it's personal. That sucks.
I get that. We can let that seep in. Big weekend in the NFL. If you guys want your hockey fix, tune in tomorrow night, 6 p.m. for Altitude's NHL Draft coverage. Back in 3 minutes.
Toss sweep goes to Chubb, and on an end around, they give it to Landry, and he's going to fire down the field into the end zone. Touchdown, Odell Beckham Jr. Around the horn they went. It went from Mayfield to Chubb to Landry, and the old southpaw fired it down to OBJ in the end zone.
That call courtesy of the Browns radio network. They put up 49 on the Dallas Cowboys. The Browns are 3-1. America's team falls to 1-3 despite Dak Prescott throwing for over 500 yards and 4 touchdowns. A fun weekend in the NFL. That Browns-Cowboys game, end arounds, touchdown passes from Jarvis Landry. Let's just go trade for Landry and have him be the quarterback.
It's fun football, man.
It's
It's
awesome,
fun.
man.
It's fun to watch. Hell, you look at that again. I'm starting to think about this too, Vic. You know, Justin Herbert looks pretty damn good. I mean, he's just a baby, and you watch him go over the top, dropping dimes against that Buccaneers defense, and I'm like, oh crap, is this son of a gun going to be in the division for the next decade too? I mean, dude, the Herbert looks. I know they're 1-3. I know, but you're starting to think, okay, that game was an awesome football game.
How'd they blow that lead? They were up 17.
They got Brady, dude.
Tom Brady
threw
Tom
5
Brady.
touchdowns, man. I mean, Tom Brady threw for 5 TDs. What do you want him to do?
Through the first 2 quarters of that game, and I kid you not, on my notepad that I was scribbling on in the first half at 11 a.m. yesterday, I wrote, "It's time to close the book on Tom Brady," after he threw a pick 6, and then he shoved it up where the sun don't shine.
He telegraphed one to the left sideline.
I got hooped.
You know, I thought about something.
Then he just went insane.
I thought about something watching bits and pieces of that game yesterday. Shaq Barrett, I believe, had a sack. How come in the NFL we don't treat a tackle for loss, TFL, like a sack if they're both behind the line of scrimmage? Like if a linebacker or a safety comes up and there's a sweep left or a sweep right and just buries the dude for a loss of 5. Why isn't that statistically as valued as a sack?
Because everyone cares about the quarterback and only the quarterback.
Well, you know what I'm saying? What's the difference?
They do keep. They do keep the. I mean, they.
I know
do
they keep those,
track
but nobody.
of it, yeah.
But everything's about how many sacks did Vaughn have this year? Or how many tackled for losses did a certain player have? Why isn't that as valuable in the grand scheme of things?
Maybe when it comes to contract time, agents use that kind of thing. I don't know. We don't. I don't want to sit here and talk about, hey, he had 3 tackles for losses, and that just gets boring and minutia. If you want to talk about taking a quarterback's head off and sacking a dude, now it gets my stinger up.
Well, I guess what I'm saying is, why does a sack have so much more value than a tackle for a loss?
Why do you care so much?
It's just one of those statistical anomalies that drives me crazy. I saw a great play yesterday. Did you guys see that play?
What a hill.
I know.
What a hill of
I know.
dice.
I'm a weirdo. I'm a weird guy. I am. I totally admit it. Did you see what happened to Golden Tate in the Rams game? In the Rams-Giants game?
I did
No.
not.
You didn't see that?
No.
You didn't see the fight that ensued in the Rams-Giants game at the end of the
Oh,
game?
at the end, I saw the fight. I didn't see what
I
happened. to
didn't see what happened to Golden Tate.
It was I believe, a screen left, like a bubble screen that the Giants attempted, screen left. And Golden Tate got absolutely blown up, blown out of the water is what happened to him. He got tackled for a loss. Did you see it?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Okay.
Jalen Ramsey ruined him.
Okay, so he lost yardage on that. Okay, he lost, I think 2 yards. And I'm thinking to myself, that play there has more value than a sack. And yet, in the grand scheme of things, when people look at a game and they say, well, how many sacks? Well, forget the sack. That's a tackle for that's a bigger play, much bigger play. The ball moved, and he still got a negative yardage result out of it. By the way, those 2 guys, there's a big storyline between those 2 guys.
Yeah, I think it has to deal with Tate's sister, right? What's the story behind her?
Tate's younger sister has 2 children with what's his name?
Jalen Ramsey.
Jalen Ramsey. And there were some exchanges going on before and after the game. Clearly not fond of one another. They got into a fist fight as soon as the final whistle blew. They met at center. Listen to this. Last night after the game, they met at midfield. They fought it out. They got separated. They went to their respective lockers. And then after that, Dude's waiting for Golden Tate outside the locker.
In the parking
Jalen
lot.
Ramsey, he's sitting there waiting for him. He wants to fight again.
That's awesome. So it sounds like we got ourselves like a family dispute.
The family
right?
dispute is that Jalen dumped Golden Tate's sister, who was then pregnant with their second child last year.
Oh, that's kind of rough.
That's a rough
You know
go.
what though?
I don't know any. I
all
don't
the
know in
respect-
particulars of anybody's family.
I wouldn't like you either if you did that to my sister, and I'd go after you too. Wouldn't you?
Yes.
Yeah.
Now you put that with the violence of a football game on national television, and that's a recipe for disaster right there, brother.
I had
And you
seen
put
the fight. I
Golden
had seen
Tate
the
getting
two
blown
benches
up.
clear and come together. I didn't see the hit until now. He gets pile driven.
That is
Drive?
the kind
Pile
of hit
drive?
that says,
Pile drove?
I'm gonna hit you in the next year.
Pile drived.
Pile drive did it?
That just goes to show you, if any football player wanted to really tackle with textbook precision, they could. They could, right? That had the want to. I want to make a textbook legal tackle. And that's as textbook as it gets by Jalen Ramsey.
Broncos haven't played since Thursday, guys.
Mission on that.
Haven't played since Thursday. Win over the Jets. They're 1-3. There's a headline that hasn't really come up this year, and that's Garrett Bowles holding. Garrett Bowles penalty. He's only had 2 penalties called on him all season. His average rating from Pro Football Focus, and this is what at least I use to gauge offensive linemen. One, is my eye test working, and are you holding guys, and is there laundry on the field every single time Drew Lock goes back to take a pass, or right now Brett Rippon?
Offense, number 72.
We're not hearing a lot of that.
We're not hearing it. Right now, he is ranked at an average of 86 in terms of Pro Football Focus's rating. That would have put him in the top 10 of all NFL tackles last year. Has he turned the corner, and what magic is Mike Munchak working?
Well, I think
Obviously.
it's growth. He's turned a corner. It's growth. It has to do with the quarterback play. It has to do with the ball coming out, that sort of thing. And it has to do with contract year. I think there are a lot of factors.
I think somebody finally defined holding to him. I think somebody,
maybe.
you
Can't
remember
do this.
Remember, the GM said it last year. John always said it last year. I'm not sure if he knows what holding is. I think somebody sat him down in front of a chalkboard and says, this is holding.
Dude, come on, man. He's looked at
You think I'm joking?
He's looked
You
at
think I'm joking?
a billion hours of film on himself and everybody else.
I honestly believe somebody slowed it down and said, you can't do this. You can't. This is not wrestling.
Maybe. Okay,
You
maybe.
can't do
Chesney
this.
said so much on these airwaves last year. He goes, I don't think he knows how to block.
That's
I'm not
true,
joking.
but-
Somebody sat him down and just took the videotape frame by frame and says, you can't do this.
Okay. Can we also, though, just talk about his overall growth as a player? I mean, I know he's an older guy when he came into the league, older than most rookies, and he's an older guy, late 20s now. But there's a lot on the line for Garrett Bowles. And I'm going to be honest with you, Raj. We talked a little bit this last week at the end of the week. If this is the kind of play you're going to get out of Garrett Bowles, then you re-sign him. If he's going to be this guy for the next 3 to 5 years, left tackles are like hen's teeth. When you can get one, and sign him, lock him up. If you feel like you're going to get this kind of play, now this is a small sample size, right? I mean, we're only 4 weeks into the season, and let's see how it goes once we get into really tough opponents in the next 2 months. But if he continues along this same kind of line and grades out even decently, you re-sign him. I don't care if the Bronco fans have consternation. I don't care if they think about what he's done since he's come into the league and leading all the NFL in holding. If he changes his habits and he's a good player now, then you redo it.
You know what's funny? If this trend continues and he turns into a first-round offensive tackle, right? A guy who should be on your team for 2, if not 3 contracts. And I know offensive linemen don't last all that long in the NFL, but definitely 2 long contracts is what you're looking for out of a first-round pick.
Why wouldn't you want to re-sign
Right.
him? I mean,
So that's the thing. Had you picked up the extra year and this had continued for 2 seasons, he would probably cost you more money down the road. This might be the best thing that John Elway ever did, was decline the 5th-year option if Bowles continues to get better, because he's going to be cheaper.
Totally agree with you. I've never been one of those, oh, my God, you got to pick up the option and it's going to cost you. No, I'd rather have a guy show me.
Right.
I'd rather have a guy earn it. I totally agree with you. It's more important for that player to earn it than it is to presuppose that he's going to get it.
And if
you know what
you're-
I'm saying?
If you're looking from a straight numbers standpoint, it will help the team in terms of cap space.
Somebody on the text line from the 9311. It also has to do with Reisner improving with him. Having a stable guard there is very helpful, no doubt about it, especially a guy who's as talented as Reisner. But I don't give a rat's rip if Reisner's helping. If the Reisner's play, you lock him up for a long. If you don't have to worry about the left side of your offensive line for the next 3 to 5 years, or maybe even a little tiny bit longer, then by God, you do what it takes. I mean, I'm just saying.
Know.
He's playing his way into a new deal, and nobody should be complaining about that. Nobody should be worried about that.
People want to continue to doubt him. Somebody on the Twitch feed says, "Hey, take it easy, guys. They're not calling holding penalties anymore like they were." Wait, really? I saw Graham Glasgow get called for 2 of them in 1 quarter last week.
Yeah.
I saw Elijah Wilkinson. What game was that? Where he was just one after another.
There's a vendetta against him from the fan base. That's all there is.
I mean, come on, man. Be fair. Okay, they may not be calling holding penalties like they were. Okay. He's still not getting many. How many does he have this year? 1?
He has 2 penalties this year.
2? I mean, come on, be fair.
He's tied for 4th in terms of offensive tackles in the league this year. 4th with just 2 of them. It's Altitude Sports Radio 92.5. Man, you say one good thing about Garrett Bowles and the text line turns into Armageddon. One
And
good
what are
thing.
your options? And people are saying some not super nice stuff. Yeah, it's
Listen, the Broncos are 1-3. Everyone is hurt. If there's a ray of sunshine, I don't care if holding penalties are down 59% across the league. I will take the positivity and run 100 yards with it.
What are your options?
Every time.
Well, I'm going to ask Bronco fans. They act like they can be selective now.
Your
Like they have
option is putting me at left tackle.
Listen, I'm gonna tell you what right now, Bronco fans. Everybody thinks they're like Vic.
Hey, trade first rounders and let's win right now, Abs. Hey.
Everybody thinks they can. Everybody thinks they can.
No,
That's not the same argument.
No. Stop everything. You are
That is the
blind.
worst call in the history of the league.
You know what you are? Just admit you're the play-by-play voice. You're going to cater to the team and just be who you are. Let me be objective about the Avs. You just go in your little corner. The Avs are ready to strike. That 22nd pick means nothing to them. Nothing.
25th.
Whatever the hell it is, 25th, 35th, 45th, 5th. It means nothing. Get rid of that pick. Let's go. Let's win now.
All right. And everybody thinks they can GM, Raj.
I'm a damn good GM on my PlayStation, dude.
I don't know that. Listen, I don't know that people truly understand how hard it is to find a good left tackle. I mean, I don't. Think about it, people. It's like, okay, go find me a good left tackle, replace Bowles, ready, go. Well, we can draft one. Well, they're not even. I mean, if the odds of you finding a guy in the draft that's going to play better than Bowles right off the gate is difficult anyway. Which is why when you have one, which is why the Broncos, by the way, spent a first-round pick, and so did the New Orleans Saints on Ramczyk, because when you got guys who are of that caliber, you use. I mean, nobody wants to spend a first-round pick on a tackle, right? You want skill, you want pizzazz. Well, they're just hard to find. So if you can find a different option than Garrett Bowles, by all means, you know what? Go do it, and then send the info to John Elway.
Brodsky, did you watch the Niners last night? Did you watch the Niners?
A little bit of that. They played
the Eagles.
Philly.
The Eagles.
Yeah,
The
Wentz,
first
by the way,
place
Wentz looked
Eagles
good.
at 1-2-1.
Did you
so
see
stupid.
the Niners right tackle McGlinchey? He's a Notre Dame guy.
Yeah.
Was he first rounder? I believe he's a first
Yeah,
round pick.
he was first rounder. I think he was in the same draft that Quentin Nelson got taken.
Yeah. Did you see him get absolutely used late in the game when the game was still up in the air, and he couldn't block anybody? Anybody. Trust me. Every tackle at some point faces that, oh my God, I can't block right now. All of them. Hell, Trent Williams had a rough go at it at times. Trent Williams did. He was offsides on a couple plays last time. I was like, what are you doing, dude? False starts?
I was going to say, offside as an offensive lineman is tough to do.
False start.
Okay, same difference. Yeah, I mean, so anyway, I have no problem finding – if you can use this season – again, Raj, and I hate to say this because it stinks, and you're on the precipice of just another blah season, right? And Vic, you want them to lose big if they're going to lose. That's fine, but you need to figure some things out this year. You need to gather information. If you want to use this, and I don't want to put this in anybody's head, but this is reality. If you want to use this season as an information-gathering mission, that's fine with me because you still don't truly know about Drew Lock. You think you know. You think you've got a guy that you think can be the long-term answer, but you really don't know. You need to see him play a lot more. If you can glean information about Bowles and come to a conclusion that he's a long-term answer or not a long-term answer, then that's good too, but you just need the info, man.
Yeah. I see. I know where you're coming
from. You need to learn about Judy. You need to learn about Hamler. All these guys, Vic.
But see, every fan listening to the show, we all play closet GM. You say it's such a hard job. Of course it's a hard job. That's why there are a very select amount of people that can do the job. But we all play GM. Why wouldn't we? We all think this person is better than another or this trade works. I mean, that's what sports is here for, right? So to say that the thing with the Broncos versus the Nuggets and Avs, if you take all the sports here, what is your plan if you're operating a team? What is your plan? What is your identity and plan moving forward?
They don't have one right. Broncos don't have one right now.
And that's what
they don't have an identity.
What's the plan? What are we doing? What's the Rockies right now? What are we doing?
I couldn't tell
you're
you.
going to find out. You're going to find out. They're going to have to come up with a plan because they're going to have to trade Arenado. I think they are anyway. But yeah, I mean, they don't have an identity right now. They may have a plan, but it's not one that's been released to the public. We can't understand the plan, but right now they don't have an identity that I can identify.
We had Tim Connolly on this very program a week ago, the Nuggets GM. I guarantee he has very specific plans.
And certainly had one 5 years ago.
He ain't going to tell us, right? And I don't blame him. Why would he? Why would he unveil his plan? But I guarantee you, close to the vest, they know exactly what they're going to do in this offseason.
Well, they know the kind of player they want. He told us straight up what they want.
But they want certain dominoes to fall a certain way. I know. They know exactly. They have a plan. They're close. I'm sure the Avs, even though you think they should hold on to the pick and build for the future, I'm sure they have a plan.
I didn't say, listen, Dillwagon. I didn't say that. I'm saying if the right deal comes along and you need to move that asset or you want to move that asset to help your club right now, by all means, go ahead and do it. Mm-hmm. I'm just saying if you get in if you're a habitual first round trader, you're going to screw yourself. You are. If you habitually get into the act of trading away picks to try and salve yourself right now, then in the long term, it's going to hurt the franchise. That's all I'm saying. Draft and develop was where it's at in the NHL, baby. And now that you've gotten there, okay, start doing a little bit of dabbling in some deals and whatnot to try to shore things up because you got a team that's very, 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 very close.
Major League Baseball returns from a 2-day hiatus tonight. The ALDS starts this evening. The Astros and the Athletics at 2:07 in the afternoon here, Mountain Standard Time. And the Yankees and Rays will play at 6. There's 2 football games to battle against, but are you guys watching any baseball tonight?
Yeah, I'm going to watch a little bit.
I'll watch the afternoon game. I'll watch the Stros and A's, and I'll be rooting hard for the A's. And by the way, I'll be rooting hard for the Rays. I'm going to root for the A's and the Rays.
So am I.
Let's go with Purple Haze. Let's do it now. Yeah.
I'm a little different. I'm going to root for the Astros. I want the Astros to play the Dodgers.
I don't know why
in
you
the World Series.
You're an idiot.
Well, only because I'm going to play.
Because now it's an even playing field.
I'm going to be the contrarian here on this. I think the Astros took a bit too much of the bulk of the blame. No, I mean, I just
the world burn.
I think the Astros took on too much of the blame for a thing that is rampant in baseball.
Okay.
Everybody cheats. Everybody steals signs. Everybody does it. They got caught, and now they're paying the price. Fine.
Don't you have any affinity for the little engine that could? Like in the Oakland A's? I mean, a little, they play in that
no, you know what the A's are?
Coliseum.
No, you know what the A's are? You know what the A's are? The A's are everything you just said that you just love. Draft and develop.
Don't ever go out and buy someone.
Don't buy anybody.
Sabermetrics,
don't
baby.
Strike when the iron's hot. Just draft and develop.
So that's why
after year after year after year after year. Play well in the regular season, get to the playoffs, and get your ass kicked. Draft and develop.
So you look at the Tampa Bay Rays. Here they are, competing in the big bad American League East. Yankees payroll is 5 times what the Rays is. They play in a concrete sarcophagus. And they find themselves, the team to beat right now. I mean, they had a better season than the Yankees did in the regular season. You don't find yourself rooting and pulling for the Rays.
There's some bad blood in that matchup, right?
Good. Go bad blood, Aaron Judge, all over the place.
Do you remember what happened a month ago? 1 month ago, the Yankees and Rays were at it, and they were throwing at each other. Aldis Chapman threw a 101 pitch behind a dude's head, okay?
Yep.
And then Kevin Cash, if we have it, Nelly, Kevin Cash, the Rays manager, was so indignant, so angry after the game, he had this to say.
Well, it's ridiculous. Enough's enough. We've gone battles, and look, you're going to get some of this at the time when you're playing a short season with so many games, but it's absolutely ridiculous. It was mishandled by the Yankees. Certainly the pitcher on the mound. It was mishandled by the umpires. They hit Joey Wendell intentionally in the first inning. It was clear as day. Chapman comes in. He throws 3 different balls up and in. I get it. They don't like being thrown up and in, but enough's enough. We're talking about a 100-mile-an-hour fastball over a young man's head. It makes no sense. It's poor judgment, poor coaching. It's just poor teaching what they're doing and what they're allowing to do. The chirping from the dugout. I mean, somebody would have to tell me, go pull the numbers, who's hit who more. But I can assure you, other than the 3 years ago, there hasn't been one pitch thrown with intent from any of our guys, period. Somebody's got to be accountable. And the last thing I'll say on it is I got a whole damn stable full of guys that throw 98 miles an hour, period.
That's the
All
best
right,
part.
I got a
Let's go
big
get it.
gun, and I'm not afraid to use
Yeah,
it.
well, you ain't
Well,
going to do it in the postseason. But
It ain't going to happen
fine,
now.
fine,
You're
fine.
exactly right. Unless it's a 10-1 game out of control, ain't nobody going to get hit today.
No, dude, I wouldn't mind. Would you mind a bean fest? I would not
Ain't
mind
happening.
a bean fest.
Ain't happening. Not in the divisional series.
We'll take a quick break. Nelly will tell you what you guys missed over the weekend. It's Altitude Sports Radio 92.5. What up? Welcome back. Mosier Lombardi and Kane Raj filling in for Kaner. He'll be back starting tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. We're coming to you guys live from the oddstrader.com studios. Oddstrader.com, where the pros go to handicap a jam-packed football weekend in the sports world. Nelly, what did we miss?
I'm sick of losing. I'm sick of working as hard as I do and as we do, and going out there and losing. I mean, it sucks. Enough is enough, you know. I think that's my message. You know, I'm excited, you know, obviously for that. I dreamed of it when I got drafted here. I looked all those stats up and was like, man, I want to break all these, you know, as a competitor. But I'm sick of losing. Like, enough's enough. I'm tired of it.
It's my man, the eyeliner, Derek Carr.
Yeah. You know, what's interesting, I didn't realize this. I just saw it. Carr yesterday set the all-time Raiders record for touchdown passes, passing Ken Stabler. 151 career touchdown passes.
I would have never guessed that. I mean,
Me
there have been
either.
so many quarterbacks come through, but we got to remember, most quarterbacks that have come through the Raiders organization, a lot of them come through as free agents. The Jim Plunkett's, the Rich Gannons, right? The guys who thrive, but it was a sparse career there. They got in, they got out.
And then the guys they drafted have stunk. Todd Marinovich, Jamarcus Russell. You know what I mean?
Talk about two quarterbacks that were complete busts.
I know. I mean, I was thinking
Did you ever
about
watch the Marinovich Project?
Yeah, I was just thinking about Marinovich the other day. And, I mean, dude took a tough turn. You know, the Marinovich thing, you know, they interviewed him and he seemed to have his life together. Then he got busted for drugs, I think, right after that, right? I mean, dude, I don't know, man. I saw Marinovich play, though. Dude, he had a couple good games in the NFL.
At SC,
and so did Ryan Leaf. Yeah.
I mean, that story, if you haven't watched the Marinovich Project, the 30 for 30, find a way to get on ESPN and take a look. It's fantastic.
Just thinking about, dude. What else you got, Nelly?
And the final 7 seconds will run off the clock. The Bengals have the first win of the Joe Burrow era as they beat Jacksonville 33-25.
How about the Bengals and the Jags yesterday, man?
Beat the Jags.
That game came on the red zone, and I'm like,
congratulations.
Get off of there.
You know what,
man?
You know what?
It's a first dub, man.
Got the same record as the Broncos.
The reaction that you had to that game on red zone is probably the reaction that the majority of the country had on Thursday night.
Yeah, I know people still watched the one Thursday night. They did. I'm not a lot, but
first rookie quarterback in NFL history to throw for 300 and more yards in consecutive games. Joe Burrow is the real deal.
Yeah, he is. And I hate to say this, Raj. We could sit there and poke fun at them all we want, but if the Broncos played Cincinnati, you know, in this joint or their joint this weekend, who'd be the favorite? The Bengals would be favored over the Broncos. I can bet you that.
Well, they're certainly healthier. Nelly?
Oh, yeah.
When you walked off the court with about 10 seconds left, was that frustration or did you think the game was over?
Both.
I saw that last night. It was
End of
such a
answer.
LeBron move. It was such a LeBron move. I mean, the game was over. For all rights, you know, there's no reason to finish the 0.7 seconds left. The referees at that point, just come on. Let's end the game. Let's not be foolish, all right? The game's over. It was obviously a done deal. But the Lakers still had to have 5 guys on the court to make it official. And LeBron was halfway to the locker room. So they had to sub in for LeBron because he's too good to stay on the court.
And it wasn't because he thought the game was over. He left because he was
just pouting.
And
yeah,
you know
pouting.
what? I'm going to fault Bill Plaschke for this. That's your fault as a journalist leading the athlete into a question. Just ask him why you walked off the court.
Yeah, why
Don't give him the
floor?
out. Don't say, did you think the game was over? Were you upset? No. Don't lead the witness. It's journalism 101. Ask a question and let the guy answer. Be better.
You know what? You know, I just thought of it, and we're all thinking the same thing. I think NBA ratings, as much as I believe rating systems are flawed, I think a lot of that fatigue in the NBA, it's not just Lakers fatigue, because the Lakers, it's been a while. They've gone through some bad years. It is simply LeBron fatigue. It is LeBron fatigue. Love him or hate him. I mean, I think I'm tired of it.
Listen,
I am.
I acknowledge
Are you?
what an.
Are you tired of it?
Listen, I acknowledge what an unbelievable player he is, one of the very best of all time. Just remarkable talent, leadership, all of that kind of stuff. He's just always, just always there. And the fact that he's doing it now with the Lakers, and that he stole Anthony Davis away from the Pelicans. It was thievery. The Pelicans they had no choice but to trade him to the Lakers, and they got robbed in the process. They got him Zion. I dig that. But I'm just saying, nothing sits right with me.
From a basketball standpoint, I'm just as a basketball fan, are you fatigued watching LeBron James play on the biggest stage?
Yeah.
Yes or no?
Yeah, I'm over it, unfortunately.
That's on us. That's on us, right? You don't care. The Lakers aren't. The Lakers fans are loving it, right? They're
and
fine.
we would crucify the guy if he didn't get to the biggest stage. Right? It's a damned if you do, damned if you don't situation for him. He's been around for so long. He's been so great. He's the prodigy that lived up to and exceeded expectation. We're just over it.
Because I'm going to tell you the last thing I'm going to do, everybody, when the Lakers finally clinch this series, because if Bam Adebayo doesn't, and I don't know what his status is, but if you think Miami is going to come back and win without Bam, you're fooling yourself. All right, they got away with one game, great. Then, Jimmy Butler ain't averaging a 40-point triple-double from here on out. That ain't going to happen. So if you're fooling yourself there, the Lakers eventually are going to clinch this series, be it 5-6 games. They're going to clinch the series. If you think I'm going to sit there and watch the trophy presentation and Rachel Nichols and the commissioner and everybody sit there and talk to LeBron and get his... You think I'm going to watch that? I would rather vomit profusely for 8 hours straight.
Gross. Nelly?
I don't actually have any sound for this one, but Raj mentioned this to me, and I think it's definitely a very important weekend headline worth mentioning. MLB great Bob Gibson, the pitcher for the St. Louis Cardinals, passed away on October 2nd, a few days ago. Hall of Famer, 9-time All-Star, 2 World Series champion. One of the best to ever do it. One of the best to ever pitch in the big leagues.
Oh, by far. He was so good they had to lower the mound. Because
they changed the way the game was played because
the dimensions of the pitching mound because dude was so scary.
In his historic season, I read this yesterday, I couldn't believe it. In his 1.12 ERA season, just think about that number, by the way, a number that will live in infamy.
Amazing.
Okay, in that season, do you know that Bob Gibson was never replaced in a baseball game? He never was replaced by another pitcher, even in the playoffs. He either went the distance or got the final. He was never replaced.
He had 23 wins and 25 complete games. Like he went the distance in losses, dude. It's an amazing stat.
It was almost as if he intimidated his own manager, like his manager would be inclined to go get him. Nope.
It's not like this happened in the dead ball era when guys were pitching, 28 innings a day back in 1907. No. This was live ball. This was in the early 60s. This was legitimate baseball being played. The funny thing is, I've been in and don't crucify me again for this, I've been in a fantasy baseball league for like 12 years with the same guys that I played high school baseball with. And we get together every winter and we do our winter meetings and we just drink and have a bunch of fun.
Wait. Winter meetings?
Yeah, we call it our winter meetings. It's just a bunch of guys going
just partying.
No,
come on. You know what? I had this conversation with my buddy of mine. He goes, about a month ago, what are you doing? Oh, we're going up to Breckenridge. For what? Oh, we got our fantasy football draft. I go, oh, you mean you and the boys are going up to play golf, party, and drink?
Yes.
Yeah, we're just calling it fantasy. Tell us what it is. I know you're using that to tell the missus, tell the loved one what you're doing, but you're going to do
so she keeps buying you Pelotons.
Yeah, so, okay, there we go. In as many words, we go up to the mountains every winter as a group to drink and have fun.
Okay, so the point is about Gibson.
We have like a trivia thing that we do, like baseball trivia game that we do to see who's paying more for the league. Bob Gibson is the answer to every baseball trivia answer or every baseball trivia question ever. If you're stumped, say Bob Gibson.
You just supplied way too much information about your sporting life, man.
We do trivia games and we have winter meetings. Hi.
Dude.
That's what it sounds like listening to you every day.
Dude, that's it. Well, it's a good point.
You know what? I'm going to start coming. When I was a kid, I used to tell my parents, I was in Cub Scouts. I used to go to the Apples house for Cub Scouts. And they were just used to me, 3 times a week going to a Cub Scouts meeting. Well, those meetings continued in high school, and I think even college. I think at one point when I was 22, I got a Cub Scout meeting. I'm going to be gone until 3 in the morning.
Let's take a break, man.
That music means it's time for the Pick Six. We find the seven biggest stories around the NFL from the previous day and or weekend, since it's a Monday, and we give it to you guys right here on Altitude Sports Radio 92.5 every single day. Nelly.
Oh, I'd give a rat's ass about Twitter.
Hey, speaking of, who is the number one team in the Big 12? Anybody? Anybody?
It's got to be
Texas
TCU.
Christian?
TCU. After they upset Texas.
You'd think it would be, wouldn't you?
It's certainly not the
Iowa
0-2
State?
Sooners.
Maybe it's Iowa State at this point.
The Oklahoma State Cowboys
All right.
are 3-0. Yeah, the Big 12 has got some real problems this year.
They're toast.
Again, and by the way, Iowa State is undefeated in conference play at 2-0, but they're 2-1 overall. Same with K-State. Texas loses to TCU. Unbelievable. But Oklahoma State is now carrying the water. Oklahoma is 0-2 in conference, 1-2 overall. They're absolute toast. And by the way, they're out of the top 25, if you can believe that. But anyway, I watched college football this weekend. The Big 12 is just something. They got out of the gate slow, and Oklahoma State ain't going to last. Unless you think that Oklahoma State's going to run the table and represent in the playoffs, more power to you. I don't think it's going to happen. I don't know if they'll get anybody in.
It's remarkable that TCU did what it did to Texas in Texas until you consider Gary Patterson, TCU head coach, has beaten Texas 7 out of 10 times they've played. He is 7-3 against the mighty Longhorns. He owns them.
Hey, remember when the Frogs were one of us, the Mountain West? The Frogs are
those are back in the Andy Dalton days, right?
dude, the Frogs used to be us, man. Now the Frogs are all big.
Man, just a couple of years ago when Sam Ehlinger after the All-State Sugar Bowl and said, "We're back."
You're not.
No,
Right,
no, you're
next.
not. You're not.
Tom Herman's got issues.
Next.
I eat the pizza. All by myself. Nobody else eats. Eat the pizza.
The most disappointing team in the NFL. No doubt about it. All right. If I measure disappointment, the Houston Texans have the highest payroll in pro football, $255 million in cash on the roster. They made one of the most outlandish trades of the offseason. Just dumb, right? They owe their first and second round picks next year to the Dolphins. They're 0-4. The Houston Texans, with your guy, Deshaun Watson, a franchise quarterback, supposedly, 0-4.
Some dill wagon.
I
Sent
mean,
a text this morning early, Raj. Some dill wagon sent a text early, getting on my case about Deshaun Watson. Let me tell you something, dill wagon, and all you other dill wagons out there. If you wouldn't take Deshaun Watson on your football team today, then you are a moron. Moron.
A moron or a dill wagon?
Both. You're a moronic dill wagon. He's a great player. I don't know what to say, man, other than Bill O'Brien stinks. The whole franchise is a mess. He started to call more plays this weekend. It still didn't work because the dang Vikings beat him in Houston. That's an absolute sloppy pig mess down there.
I'd like to see Woods and Mickelson do the golf or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Talk about another two-way quarterback, Lamar Jackson, the quickest ever to reach 5,000 yards passing and 2,000 yards rushing in NFL history. He did it in 4 fewer games than Michael Vick did. 35 games for Jackson, 39 for Mike Vick. Are we going to see a lot more quarterbacks throughout the next few years come in with 5,000 and 2,030 games?
I think with the rules nowadays, Raj, and again, I mean, Lamar Jackson's a total stud. Let's not be wrong about this. But I think with the rules and quarterbacks being so protected, they're naturally going to, I think, play more games. And then they're going to be a lot. I mean, you look at the other night at the Sam Darnold run, right, to start things off in that game. And Vic was 100% correct. The DBs are like, can I hit him or can I not? Is he going down? You see what I'm saying? I just think that overall we're going to see more quarterback productivity just because the rules favor them so much. And guys are getting bigger, stronger, better than they ever have been. Believe it or not, I've been in the gym. Thanks, Nelly. What a dill wagon. Hey, let me ask you this. Nelly, do you play fantasy football?
I do.
Okay, we know that Raj does. I used to. I just couldn't keep track of my teams, and so I stopped playing. Devontae Adams, is he a pretty good player?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, theoretically, you want him on the field. He later deleted this post on Twitter, but he said, quote, "Sorry, fans and friends, I won't be on the field tonight. I've done everything I need to do and proved I'm ready, but I guess I don't know my body as well as others. Good luck out there, my boys. So he's not playing tonight for the Packers. They won't let him play because he's had this hammy, and they've got a bye week coming up, and he's mad about it. If a player says, I can play, I feel great, I know my body, but the team still shuts him down, what's the proper protocol here? Should the player just suit up anyway and run out there? I mean, what do you do?
He's not going to suit up and run
Well,
out. He's not allowed to.
You know what I mean. I mean, if the team says you can't play, but he says I feel great, I want to be out there.
You can't play. What do you do? You can't play. What do you mean? What do you do?
You can't just go out onto the field.
I understand that. I was being facetious. I'm just saying, dude says he's ready to go. Then he takes a dig at the franchise, saying, "I guess I don't know my body as well as others."
Well, the other side of this coin is if he thinks he's ready to go and the team rushes him back, I mean, you're losing that guy millions of dollars if he ends up having another bad injury.
Again, I go back to this whole Cam Newton thing and whether or not he'll be available for the Broncos game next Sunday, right?
Yeah.
What if Cam Newton is 100% right now? He feels great. He's asymptomatic. He's like, I'm fine. Let's go. But he can't. He can't because technically he's still carrying the corona, correct? Technically it's still in his system.
Or at
So it
least
doesn't
I
matter
think
what
it
he
is. I don't know.
says or what he thinks. Doesn't matter.
Nelly.
Because I burnt my gym down, unfortunately.
So I saw this over the weekend. This restaurant in Chicago has a menu that was autographed back in 1988 by the following athletes, two of them being big-time NFL legends, okay? Mike Tyson's a boxer. Michael Jordan's a hooper. Walter Payton and Richard Dent also on this menu, along with Don King, the boxing promoter. Okay, so
Don King.
5 big autographs, and it's going for lots of money, this autographed legends menu. Of those members of the autographed collection I just gave you, Mike Tyson, Michael Jordan, Walter Payton, Richard Dent, Don King, which is the most valuable autograph?
I would think it would be Walter Payton, I think.
Iron Mike.
Yeah, Walter Payton has passed away. Don King, I think is Don King dead? Well, you want Jordan? You can still get a Jordan autograph, dude. You can't get a Walter Payton autograph anymore. You simply can't get it.
Is this happening?
Did you just kill Don King on live air?
I think he did.
Yeah, I may have.
Only one of those names I just mentioned is the greatest at his respective sport.
Michael
Mike Tyson's
Jordan.
exactly. Mike Tyson is not the greatest boxer of all time. He was of our generation the most exciting, not the greatest, not even close. Walter Payton is not the greatest football player of all time.
Yeah, but he
Could be in the
but he's a
conversation.
Super Hall of Famer, passed away, Vic.
Michael Jordan is the greatest basketball player of all time, and I'm not going to debate this with morons. It's not debatable in my book.
You catch Michael Jordan at a Starbucks and get an autograph?
Probably.
I'm just asking you, forget about
Okay.
getting
You also
one. I'm
might be
saying
able to
we
catch
go to
Mike Tyson at a strip joint in Vegas and get his autograph too.
Right. Unless you're ready to go to the nether regions, you ain't getting Walter Payton's autograph, Jack.
Nether regions. Oh, like the underworld?
Heaven.
Oh, that's what you're getting. Why would you use nether regions for heaven?
Well, unless you're ready to go to.
He's
the
thinking
ether
about Tinder
world.
again.
I'm confused. Swipe right.
We're running out of time. My life is running out of lifespan.
Dak Prescott, 3 consecutive games of 450 or more passing yards, but the Cowboys are 1-2 in those games. Is this the start of an era of quarterbacks that are going to break records and have these gaudy passing numbers and they're going to look great, all these numbers that should get you into Canton but can't win football games? Are we going to see inflation when it comes to stats?
He's making a case for his new contract. I mean, he's throwing the pig all over.
Still can't win games.
Yeah, I know. And I get mixed feelings about that because that defense is really poor. And by the way,
They're
he threw
so
that
bad.
pick. He threw that pick late last night.
It was a throwaway pick.
I mean, it was like, what, 140 left? And by the way, Amari Cooper, alligator armed that ball. That's not on Dak. That's on Amari
I'm not
Cooper. He
saying
didn't
that
go
pick
for
was
that
on
football. I'm just saying, and they weren't going to win that game anyway. I'm starting to come around a little bit on Dak Prescott. I feel bad for the guy laying it out there every week and having his defense just be so poor.
What's
so
crazy
poor
about
us.
Crazy about the Cowboys, if the Atlanta Falcons don't vomit all over themselves, the Dallas Cowboys are 0-4 right now.
0-4, baby.
Falcons 0-3 taking on the 3-0 Packers tonight on Monday Night Football. Nelly, split the uprights for us.
This is a pretty crazy stat from last night's game. George Kittle was targeted 15 times in the 49ers game against the Eagles, and of those 15 targets, he caught the ball 15 times. And Since 2009, since targets became a recorded stat, that ties him for the most targets with a perfect catch rate in a single game. The only other person to hit that mark was Christian McCaffrey in Week 16 of the 2019 season.
You know why Nelly brought that stat up, guys?
Because he's got George Kittle on his fantasy team?
No, because he's a 49ers fan and they suck.
No.
Oh, yeah.
Well, they're 2-2.
Dude, they pulled their quarterback last night, and Beathard comes in and all of a sudden moves the ball at will. You got to figure if C.J. Beathard had played the entire game, I think the Niners win that comfortably. Nick Mullins just wasn't getting it done.
Yeah, he didn't do much there.
He was awful.
Didn't do much.
They're backups, dude. They're backups for a reason.
I know, but did you see Beathard come in? Beathard's like, boom, 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 boom. It wasn't even hard for him.
Yeah, we saw Brandon Allen do that. I'm out.
Eagles are 1-2-1 after their victory in first place in the NFC East. We'll take a quick break, come back on the other side. It's Mosier, Lombardi, and Kane. Raj filling in on Altitude Sports Radio. Welcome back, Altitude Sports Radio 92.5. Mosier, Lombardi, and Kane. Raj filling in. Kaner will be back at 6 a.m. tomorrow right here on these airwaves. The Patriots will play the second of two Monday night games today on ESPN and CBS. Cam Newton will not be participating in that game as he has tested positive for COVID-19. We're wondering how that's going to affect next weekend's game between the Pats and the Broncos, Moj.
I had this chalked up to a loss. I mean, I did, and I guess that's probably unfair because the Broncos are going to get a little bit healthier, hopefully, and maybe, you start to you use that positive energy from the win against the Jets, and okay, fine. It probably was a little bit fair to say, okay, it's a scheduled L, but I don't know, man. I'm very interested to see what they do tonight. I'm very interested to see what they look like without Cam. I don't know of his availability for next weekend, but I wouldn't bank on it.
I have a little bit of information on the medical availability for Cam Newton.
Oh, you do? Okay, yeah.
This is
Nurse Raj, what do you got?
Nurse Raj, thank you.
This is from the doc.
From the 4-letter. From a medical standpoint, one important point of context is to know if he's asymptomatic. If so, he can return after 5 days with 2 consecutive negative tests, each separated by 24 hours. If he does not pass that, his absence will be 10 days at minimum, meaning he would miss the game against the Broncos.
All right, so hold on a second.
Can you follow that?
So he tested positive on, Friday or Saturday?
On Friday.
Okay, so add 5 days to Friday.
That's Wednesday?
Or was it Saturday morning?
Okay.
Let's call it Tuesday or Wednesday. Let's call it Tuesday. How's that?
All right, and then add 2 24 hours, 48 hours. 2 negative tests.
Thursday, and then Thursday.
Right, yeah.
So he'd be available. He'd miss all practice all week long. He'd be able to practice with the Patriots on Friday or Saturday.
Correct.
He feasibly could still play.
He could feasibly still play.
I'm just curious to see what they look like without him. I mean, Brian Hoyer's like I don't fear Brian Hoyer. I fear Cam Newton. I don't fear Brian.
Bill Belichick.
Well, yeah. I mean, you got to go to Foxborough, but I'm just saying that I don't know, man. All of a sudden, it starts to look a little bit different. All of a sudden, if I was a betting man like Raj is, maybe you jump on that Broncos plus 11, right?
Don't paint me with a Springer brush now.
It sounds pretty Springer. I mean, good point. But you know what I mean. All of a sudden, it starts to look maybe they could get a little something going, depending on what happens tonight, how healthy the Patriots emerge from this Monday night game they were not expecting to play. That's interesting to me, Victor.
I think it's interesting how the COVID diagnosis is changing batting lines and everything. I mean, talking to a friend of mine who's in.
By the way, that game is now off the board.
That's what I was saying. I mean, I wonder how you keep it on the board. I mean, if there's so much indecision whether a guy can play, how do you feasibly keep it on the board? How do you do that? Like, if on Thursday, okay, let's say Thursday, whatever the line was in the Chiefs-Patriots game, okay, whatever that line was, and you took the Chiefs, how much better does that bet look tonight? Miles better, correct?
Yeah.
Correct.
All right, so what if one COVID case is one thing. What if 8 members of the Patriots came down and tested positive, 8 key members, and all of a sudden, I mean, it's a cakewalk for the Chiefs. I'm surprised a lot of these damn lines are staying on the board.
Does anybody know how many people have to test positive before they postpone the game, like the Titans game?
I don't know, but the Titans have 20 people.
Yeah, 20.
That's a lot.
20
games won.
That's a lot. Yeah. Again, I don't know that. I haven't heard that anybody was symptomatic. Maybe some were symptomatic. I think
it
it's just
doesn't matter
through the
anymore.
routine test. No, I know. I'm just telling. I understand that. I'm saying, it's not like you got guys, falling down all over the place. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how many guys would have to be out, Vic. Is it 3? Is it 5? Is it 8? Is it 18 like the Titans had? I don't know what the protocol is for the NFL. I'm saying it does change a lot, though. The whole COVID thing nowadays, it changes in terms of sports betting. It changes a lot. It does.
Yeah, I just think the symptomatic and asymptomatic, according to science, really doesn't matter. You could still spread the disease, so they don't care.
So if you're watching tonight, right, with the Patriots and the Chiefs, is there anything that the Patriots would show against a vastly superior Chiefs team that would give you
No,
a
you
little
don't
bit of
learn
hope.
anything.
I don't think you're going to learn much.
Dude, watching Belichick's team, I mean, what are you going to learn? And Belichick changes his game plan week to week. That's what makes him Belichick. That's what makes him so smart and so successful, is that he's able to alter whatever game plan to the opponent. And
but
it is
think
what
about
it
that.
is.
Think about that offense.
So there's no
without
reason
Cam
for me to watch the
Newton,
game
no.
tonight.
Well, I'm going to watch the hell out of that game. Are you kidding
Are
me?
Chiefs going to win tonight?
Yeah, they should.
Okay. So then you're just looking, I think, to get a good look at what the Pats got without Cam Newton. What do they look like? How's that offense going to perform? And again, you're going against Kansas City. You don't expect to win anyway, but I'm curious. I'm genuinely curious without Cam what it's like, because it's nowhere near what Cam could bring when they bring in Brian Hoyer. There's nowhere near what Cam Newton provides, in terms of throwing and running the football.
Just good that it's happening for Kansas City. They need all the breaks they can get this year.
Yeah, they do.
Oh my
Good
God,
for the Chiefs.
It's just the rich keep getting richer. I mean, the Chargers are injured like crazy. The Broncos are injured like crazy. The Raiders can't get out of their own way. And now when you have to face Bill Belichick, you don't have to face them with his starting former MVP quarterback.
Hey, did you watch Sunday Night Football last night? I had no idea that Michaels and Collinsworth were both wearing masks. I'd have to say they sounded fine.
They did sound
wearing
fine.
the mask. Yeah,
They
I would
sounded
never
just
know. They were upset that they had to wear them, and I could see from, all right, they just went to dinner together. They rode in the same car together. They just spent half a day together.
They've been tested.
I know. Whatever.
Yeah,
Whatever. Didn't sound different though. The game sounded fine.
Sign of the times. Sign of the times.
By the way, did you see Gruden's mask? He still can't keep it on his face.
Yeah, it's this tiny little mask.
Yeah,
like,
he just
figure it
can't
out.
keep
It's going to
it on his
cost you another
face.
$50,000, dude.
Well, forget the money. They're going to start taking draft picks now.
Ugh.
Well, they just got busted 50 G's for the players going to that event and socializing with each other.
They got busted for.
So think about it. So you get the mask thing with Gruden, 100 G's, 250 to the team. That's 350 plus it's $400,000.
They actually got busted
come
most
out of that franchise.
They had a person. The organization had a person that works for the organization inside the locker room that was not authorized to be in the locker room, and they got busted for that as well. That's how.
Well, hold on a second. You say he works in the locker room?
No, this is a person that works for the organization.
Okay.
That was inside the locker room that did not meet the COVID protocol.
Okay.
To be in the locker room, whatever the hell that is.
Well, the Raiders are going to Raider. That's all you have to learn from that one. Altitude Sports Radio 92.5. Last half hour of the program here on a Monday morning show is brought to you by Mountain Breeze Heating and Air, your hometown team for heating and cooling. NCAA football back in full force. The Pac-12 has announced their schedule. The Big 12 is, largely out of the picture already, and the SEC is flexing. Florida looks like they are on fire right now. Alabama is doing Alabama things. The other guys that we have to kind of take a look at, Brigham Young, 3-0, pumping their opponents.
Independent.
How about Air Force waxing Navy?
Air Force
Dude, that was
waxed
rad.
Navy.
Not only that, but they wore the red tails.
Those are sweet.
And they looked killer. So here's what I do, Raj.
They're like the new Oregon. They just have
Yeah.
sick uniform after sick uniform.
I thought the ones with the the P-40 Warhawk jaws on them last year were rad.
Huh? What is that?
I
know what it is. It's like the shark
teeth.
mouth on the front of the plane.
Yeah,
That's
I know,
what
but
it
when
is.
you start going full military jargon, I have to rewatch Top Gun.
Shark bait.
Okay. And Navy's had some cool ones. They had the battleships on their helmets and all that, and the anchors and all that. They do a good job. The Red Tails ones, though, so here's what I do. I get sucked in. And I'm on the Air Force. I follow the Air Force on Twitter and whatnot. Then they have shop now for your gear. Dude, so I go and I'm like, oh, I want that. I want that. I want that. They've got some killer gear, man. I'm sad we couldn't be at the academy to check it out, because when two service academies play each other, whether it's at West Point, whether it's at Annapolis, or whether it's at the Springs, it's always a special moment. Then you see all the cadets, and the problem is they couldn't stand, arm in arm. They had to separate, but they stood at the end. They all get together at the end, win or lose, and because they're all brothers in arms for the United States military. It's just a special moment, Raj. And the fact that we can't have all of that it sort of hit home for me, Vic, a little bit.
All right. The Pac-12 announced its schedule. They're going to play 6 games plus an extra game, whatever happens in that championship week. CU is going to open at home November 7th against UCLA, Carl Durrell's old school that he coached. I just want you guys to consider for a second, all CU fans listening to this show, just think about this. You got a new coach that got the job late. He got the job right when COVID started. He's had little access to his team, little opportunity to mold a team, very little, if not no opportunity to recruit a team. Then, when the Pac-12 decides it's going to return to football, his city and his facilities shut down for 2 weeks. Then, he's hit with this schedule. He's got little access.
Smells like 6-0 to me, man.
I mean, what the hell?
Smells like 6-0 to me, Jack.
If there's ever a program and a head coach that's in a world of hurt and a world of trouble, what the hell is CU going to do? A new quarterback, a new system, a new staff? I mean, COVID, can't practice, can't use the facilities. What the hell are your expectations for CU this year?
I have no idea. Who's going to be the starting quarterback? Is it going to be Lytle? Who's going to be the starting quarterback?
Dude, we have not known anything because they have not done anything to suggest that there's no depth chart. I mean, if you come up with a CU depth chart right now, good luck. Good for you.
The Rams are practicing
things
too.
at this point.
The Rams are practicing. When's the Rams' first game? 3 weeks? Help me out.
Mountain West schedule. I mean, don't ask questions that you can't research on your own. That's what we have Marty for.
Their first game is against New Mexico on October the 24th.
Oh, they'll drill those nerds.
Same deal for the Rams, right? New staff, completely new staff. Hell, they got other issues. I mean, think about CSU's problem. They got investigation after investigation. They basically shut down the university facilities and the entire athletic department for a month. Said nobody can do anything. Nobody can come in here. Nobody can talk to us. They shut it down. And now they got to play football again. I mean, both of our state institutions are two. I'm not going to include Air Force here. Air Force already played. CU and CSU. Can you think of a worst-case scenario for both programs than this one?
No, but the fact that they're playing football to me is a bonus, Vic. I didn't expect them to play at all. Both conferences had shut down. Period. End of story. In fact, Air Force was just going to play 2 games, the Navy game and the Army game, and that's it. That's all they were going to do. The fact that we're actually getting college football out of Boulder and out, I mean, Raj, my hope is that we get to November, right? And it's just a Saturday in November, and it just feels like college football. That's all I hope. I hope that we get there safely. You know what I mean, in this state. I hope we get there safely. I hope everybody's okay.
Even if the Air Force is the only team that can win a football game.
Well, yeah, I mean, you never know. I mean, you never know how teams are going to come out of this stuff. You never know.
Now more than ever, I would love to see CU take on CSU simply because both programs are in the exact same boat. The exact same boat.
Yeah, this is the true Mountain West showdown.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're both restarting. There's no one's got a recruiting heavy hand right now. It's not a bad point.
What would stop? Seriously, once both seasons are over, what's to stop them from just playing their own game?
Everything.
Well, I don't think you can. I don't
Why?
think they're
Why not?
perspective.
Why can't you just say, hey, you guys want to meet up? We'll bus up.
Football
or we'll bus down.
teams, just like Blue Mountain State at the end of the series.
Their conferences would not allow. The Pac-12, namely, would never allow CU to go outside of conference for safety reasons.
After the season's over. After the season's over.
Can't
Why
do
can't
it.
you play? Why not?
Can't. Because it goes against your conference constitution, I guess. Can't do it.
No, what Moj is proposing right now is that the players from each organization call each other and then meet up on a field somewhere in Inglewood.
How do you know they're not already doing that? Hey, remember when I told you?
Wash Park, Saturday the 23rd.
Bro, before they shut down quarters in Boulder, before they quarantined all the 18 to 23-year-olds, okay? Because I
was going to say, you have an inside look into this track.
I've been up there a couple times. So I go up there. This is before they did all that. And I'm like, I asked my kid, what do you do all day? You know, you're in this box. You're in an apartment. You can't go to the rec center because they have to reserve times. You can't go play pickup basketball. That's not allowed. You can't go outside play volleyball. That's not allowed. What do you do? I mean, what do you do with yourself? I mean, when you go up there, you cannot even consider what it's like to be a college student. There is nothing to do.
Are they allowed to interact at all?
You cannot gather. You cannot get together with 2 or more people. You cannot do it. It's not allowed. They were on a 2-week ultra quarantine. If you're a college student in Boulder today, I would honest to God claim insanity. I wouldn't do it. I couldn't do it.
What was his
issue on
what did he say?
Conjugal visits?
Yeah. Well,
do you know how many kids, because they have until Wednesday to withdraw from school, do you know how many withdrawals you're going to see here in the next few days?
Probably.
It's a lot of money to pay for not having the college experience.
What if you're a theater major? What if you're a debate? What if you have a debate class? How do you do a debate without being there in person? How do you do that? How's that possible?
How do you dissect
How do you have that class?
You can't get your hand
How's
on
it
a frog?
possible to have that class? So anyway, going back to what I was telling you, a couple of weeks ago, I go up to campus, and I saw a bunch of those football players on their own running routes in one of the adjoining fields there, on their own, wearing masks. They're fine. They're wearing masks. Outside the structure of football. They're doing it everywhere. You don't think they were doing that at Ohio State for the last month? You don't think they were doing that at Nebraska for the last 2 months?
By the way,
they clearly weren't doing it at Texas or Oklahoma because those two
They weren't
programs
doing
are
enough.
nightmares. Hey, I'll be here all day.
The Rams are going to play.
That wasn't nice.
The Rams are going to play 8 games. Okay. Buffs are going to play 7 games. Everybody's going to. I mean, they have 6 games on the schedule, and then that championship weekend. Even the I think the also Rans are going to play too, right? So depending on where they end up, I just don't know what would be the problem with saying, hey, we feel like playing. You guys feel like playing? Get some officials and go play. I don't. You know why the Pac-12 would.
This isn't the
disallow
movie
that.
Invincible, okay? This is this isn't The Outsiders here.
Emilio Estevez isn't driving a limo onto the pond right now to get the guys together.
If you're I tell you what, Moj, if you're so into it, why don't you organize this?
The Mosier Bowl. Let's
Bowl.
do it.
All right. No, my point is this: is like, what's Larry Scott? Hey,
Everyone
by the
gets
way,
a tin.
Buffs,
If you win it, you get
play the
a tin of
Rams.
Coke.
If you play the Rams, in Denver, we're going to kick you out. I mean, I just whatever. I don't know. To me, this is such a weird year. I'm glad we've got college football in the great state of Colorado. I'm glad both teams are going to play. The academy we already knew was going to. That's all well and good. I count everything right now as a bonus, Raj. But I don't know what would stop in this crazy year. What would just stop you from doing what you want to do, especially once your season is over. Whatever. I mean, listen. That's why I don't run college sports, but I'd like to see it.
Football, no teams. That's it. We'll come back on the other side, wrap it all up. Altitude Sports Radio 92.5. Wrapping it up here on a Monday. Raj filling in for Kaner. He will return tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. Serenade us, Moj. Let's hear it.
No,
that's an old Bruce.
No.
Oh, is that something I need to learn? I don't invite that.
Nobody likes
Bruce Hornsby in the range riff right there.
That's just the way it is.
Yeah, exactly.
Nobody likes sing-along guy, and nobody likes the guy that brings his guitar everywhere. Nope. I mean, I'm sorry if you're one of those two guys. I can't play
guitar. I can't do that.
But if you're one of those two guys, good for you. Good for you. Nobody likes you.
Hey, a thought on football from over the weekend. I mean, things sneak up on you, and you're like, I didn't realize. You obviously realize Russell Wilson and company are 4-0, correct? I mean, it's a good team. It's their. I mean, it's their division to lose theoretically. I mean, the Rams did not have a great outing against the Giants, but they're 3-1. You know who else is 3-1?
The Bears.
The Bears.
Okay, Bears lost. The Indianapolis Colts with Phil Rivers. They opened up with a loss against the Jags. They've now won 3 in a row. 19-11. Ugly game. But it seems to me like Nick Foles can't play unless Nick Foles is brought in off the bench. If Nick Foles is your starter, it's like, he's going to suck. But if you bring Nick Foles in to relieve, then all of a sudden Nick Foles is the guy, Vic. Go figure. I mean,
I watched a little bit of that game. That was hard to stomach. There was very little offense in there. You know my favorite part of that game, though? And you could say what you want about Phil Rivers, and he's not the same player. There is nothing more entertaining than a game in which Phil Rivers starts talking trash without a single vulgarity coming out of his mouth and getting into the brain, into the minds of opposing players. It is so fun to watch, dude. He was going off.
Yeah, he got in. I forget who it was. It was one of the
Roquan Smith.
Is that yeah?
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, Phil Rivers is 3-1. You're going, okay, Colts, like a playoff team right now. I don't know. Just to me, this is the real interesting part of the year. After all of the no preseason, not really knowing what you got, you start playing games. You can call this your preseason or whatever. But now you're starting to get into what teams really do and do not have. And you know, and you look at that NFC East, and the damn Eagles lead it at 1-2-1. Cowboys are now 1-3. They're a half game back. It's not a good team. I mean, Dak's doing his thing, but that defense is terrible. They just gave up almost 50 points to the Cleveland Browns, yet they're right there to win the division. I mean, nobody's going to run away with that thing because it's such a poor division overall. I don't know. It's just interesting, man. And I'm just curious as to what, Raj, we're going to see tonight out of those Patriots without Cam Newton. I don't even know if we can get a good feel because they're going against the Chiefs. We expected them to get worked anyway.
Which game is more interesting to you? The Chiefs, Patriots without Cam, or Atlanta at Green Bay?
I've got Atlanta at Green Bay being the better game. Atlanta should not be 0-3, man.
Wait. You really?
Yes. Yeah, 100%. Without Cam Newton, dude, I don't know what this team's going to do. I really don't.
Yeah, but I couldn't give a rat's rip less about the NFC battle tonight. To me, it's all about what Mahomes and company are going to do.
But what are you going to learn tonight? I don't think you're going to learn a damn thing. You might learn something in the NFC. You might learn if Green Bay is actually for real, or if Atlanta just had an unlucky 3 weeks.
I don't even care. Yeah, I don't even care. I care. Listen, I'll tell you what. I don't know what I'm going to learn.
Maybe I just hate the Chiefs and I don't want to watch them.
Maybe. I'll call you after the game and tell you what I did learn. How's that sound?
Are you going to call me? You're going to call me tonight?
I'll give you a holler tonight and talk about it. Anyway, I'm happy that we have football over the weekend. I watch plenty of football, both college and pro. And again, Vic, I think you were saying last week that it didn't feel like college football. You couldn't get the feel of it. As the Big Ten starts to activate, and as the Mountain West, at least locally, and then the Pac-12 starts to activate, perhaps it'll start to feel more like what it's supposed to feel like. I watched SEC football over the weekend. And by the way,
it's good football.
God,
Mike Leach leached it, man. I mean, come on, dude. You explode in week one with a huge dub, and then you come back and lose to the Pigs? What a disaster that was. Total disaster.
In that typical of Mike Leach, that we said it even last week, he's the kind of coach that will beat the teams that he's not supposed to beat, and then somewhere down the road get beat.
Yeah,
he did it at Washington. He did it at Texas Tech. That's sort of his resume.
It's like, he would beat USC, and then he would go home and just lose to somebody he's not supposed to, San Diego State or something like that.
By the way, if you watched
it was majorly disappointing over the weekend to me.
If you watched any of that Alabama game, give me that Waddle, that receiver, right now. I'll take him right now in the NFL. Like today. That guy is amazing. I mean, they are so loaded at the skill positions in Alabama. I don't know how Alabama went and how this happened. Alabama went from, they had the trenchmen, they had running backs, they had all these different, and now they are wide receiver U. That's what Alabama is.
They just keep churning them out. And Mac Jones threw for a career-high 435 yards. I don't know how you don't. With the plethora of talent you got running routes for the Crimson Tide, how do you not put up career numbers all the time? I mean, I don't know. I thoroughly enjoyed this college football weekend. Saw Trevor Lawrence do his thing, and Clemson's just plowing through the ACC like we thought they were going to do. So I'm into it, Raj.
Legit question. If the dumpster fire New York Jets look like they're 100% going to pick number one, if you're Trevor Lawrence, do you entertain going back to Clemson for another year?
Not a chance. Not a chance. you're leaving money. You're leaving so much money on the table. To me,
why would you leave an easy, or not easy? There's nothing easy about being a college coach. A comfortable gig where you know the system, and enter that freaking fire pit. That's
because
what the Jets.
It's time to go pro. Trevor Lawrence is. I mean, again. I don't know what the rest of this season holds. He's going to probably battle for a national title again. I don't know what he's going to do, but he can't accomplish anything more in college than he's already accomplished. It's time for him to turn pro. It doesn't matter if you go to the Jets. I mean, Joe Burrow went to the flipping Bengals for crying out loud. You know, Baker Mayfield went to the Browns for crying out loud. That's now a 3-1 team. So, I mean, again, if it's me, I don't even remotely consider staying in college because of the team I may go to.
All right, follow me on this one, and don't tell me this is not a sports story on a sports show. It is a sports story because the martial arts, last I checked, sports. Just wrapped up season 2 of Cobra Kai last night. Best sports I saw over the weekend was Cobra Kai season 2. John Kreese is back in the game. Sorry to spoil it for those of you who haven't watched it, but get on it. It's been out for a while. It's on Netflix.
I don't know who any of these people are.
Yeah, shut up. Johnny Lawrence.
Yeah.
All right. Johnny Lawrence has now been introduced to Tinder and dating apps, which after watching season 2 of Cobra Kai, I have come to the conclusion, fair as it may be, that Johnny Lawrence is Mark Mosier. Mark Mosier is Johnny Lawrence. A guy who's fascinated with the 80s, won't leave the 80s, wears 80s concert T-shirts, listens to that music, drives an old Challenger Camaro, an old 80s car. I mean, every song, everything he does is the 80s. You and Johnny Lawrence are separated at birth, guaranteed.
Is Johnny Lawrence the villain? Like is he the villain in the first Karate Kid?
He's now the good
blonde
guy.
But
now
he's
a
not the good guy?
Yeah, he's sweep the leg, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
he was the bad guy in the original Karate Kid, and now they brought him back years later and made him the good guy.
I've been told great things about the show. I just haven't cracked into it yet.
It's the best thing on television. And if you don't watch it, you're not American.
Everybody's talking about it. I haven't seen it.
If you don't watch Cobra Kai, if you can't get yourself to watch Cobra Kai, being a child of the 80s like we were, you are un-American.
I watch sports on TV. I watch some news.
It's a sport. It involves the martial arts.
You know for a fact you're going to go back and watch World War II in color for the 17th time tomorrow night.
You cannot get yourself to watch an aged Ralph Macchio and Johnny Lawrence, you are not American.
Wait, are they friends now? Or are Macchio and Johnny friends?
I'm not giving away the plot, brother. I swear to God, Moshe, I'm not joking. Once you start this series, Netflix, Cobra Kai, you will call and text me every 10 minutes. I know you. I know your likes and dislikes.
I'll watch a couple episodes tonight. I'm in.
Oh, Alex, you won't have
you can't. You got 2 football games and 2 baseball games tonight.
Alex, I won't appeal to you because you don't know.
You have to watch
the history.
Karate Kid first.
Yeah,
you got to go back and watch
Karate Kid.
Listen, I hate to be.
Not
I
the
hate
one with
to
Will
use
Smith's kid.
ageism. This doesn't apply to you. This applies to Mosier. Mosier, enrich yourself. Watch Cobra Kai.
All right, I'll get on the Cobra Kai. Not tonight, though. Tonight I've got football and baseball to watch.
Nelly, let's figure out where the heck we went wrong. Any fact checkers?
I mean, there was some ticky-tack stuff I could have hit you guys with, but no, it was a clean enough show. I don't want to pick it apart like that. I feel like that me calling you on some of that small stuff would be like guy in a pickup game who insists on every foul. So we're gonna call it a clean show.
No, it's a funny thing. Every time I fill in, clean show.
Yeah, it's amazing.
I know.
Coincidence.
Shocker.
The texts are rolling in. Vic, completely agree. John and Mark are the same guy, Joe.
Same exact guy. Same exact guy. It's not. I mean, it's. I swear to God, I'm
Zach,
watching last
spot
night.
on, Vic. Johnny Lawrence is Moe's clone for sure.
I'm watching it with my wife outside of the badassery in martial arts because Johnny Lawrence could still. He could still do all those kung fu moves, whatever the hell that is.
I can do that too.
Now you can't do any of that. But in terms of mentally, where your mind is, dude, your mind is. I mean, it's just like his.
All right. It says, this is from Scott in Denver. My kid looks 100% like Johnny Lawrence. It's creepy. He even rocks the headband. Wait, is Johnny still rocking a headband nowadays?
Watch the show, bro. When you watch the show, it's going to feel like you're 19 again. It's going to feel like you're in that. Oh, dude. What's the name? What was Allie's name, the actress's name? When they played the Bananarama Cruel Summer song and they go to the What's her name?
What's her face?
What's
she
her
the chick
name?
from Adventures in Babysitting?
She was also in
Elizabeth
in
Shue.
Las Vegas.
Elizabeth
So
Shue.
lost.
Yeah, Elizabeth Shue. Remember her?
If you guys missed any of the show today, just search Mosier, Lombardi, and Kane on SoundCloud, iTunes, or Spotify. You can also go to twitch.tv, search Altitude SR, and watch.
Are Johnny and Daniel friends now? I mean, what's the story?
Dude, watch the show. He
Are they
cracks
bros?
Coors.
Are they bros?
He cracks original Coors, the small bottle, the tiny
banquets, yeah.
The
the
stubby
banquet
bottle.
He cracks those like you crack Heinekens, dude. It's amazing.
That's my baby.
How
It's my
similar
boy.
you are.
Stop asking questions. Watch the show, Moj.
Sounds good.
Gentlemen,
I'm
have
on
a
it.
good one. We'll see you. If you guys want your hockey fix
you,
tomorrow
dudes.
night, 6 p.m. right here on Altitude Sports Radio 92.5. Stick around. Harris Hastings and Dover is coming up next.